All right, we are live. I'm at 31 Minute Music. This is Brian's spot. I'm studio sitting. This is I don't know, a new thing to do, I guess. He's out of town. He's asked me to come studio sit. Some great gear. Those who don't like the art, MPA, the digital art preamp, I'm loving it. He has it with the reactor mic. We're recording a rapper that we're forcing to sing, Ruby Red, and we're loving it. Okay, I'm a songwriter, producer, engineer. We have Brad Chapman. I'm from Fresno, California. We have Brad Chapman. I have no idea where he's at, but where he's from, but he's in LA.
West Hollywood.
You were born and raised in West Hollywood?
Oh no, but that's where I am. Yeah.
Where are you from? Where are you actually from?
That's the secret.
Oh, see that? Okay, he's from Australia, and no, just kidding. So we have Brad Chapman. I forget how many awards he has, but he's thorough. Plenty of years in, and he's going to be talking about inner monitoring, speaking about singers being able to hear, not being able to hear, like when they're on stage and what happens. He's going to go over some stuff, give us some examples on that. And we have his test subject is Hallie Johnson. I joked with her about calling her Halle Berry. Should have seen the look on her face. Hallie came on a last episode. She sang. I thought she did an awesome job as he was doing the training with her. I thought she kicked butt, and it was her song. So she's his test subject, and that's enough for me fooling around, Brad. Go ahead and take it away.
Okay, Mott's an all-around great guy, too, by the way. So he can't say that. Well, he can say that about himself if he wants, but usually that's better if you hear it from somebody else. But we love Mott because he takes good care of us. Okay, so what we're about today, and sorry about the late start. We had some technical choices to make. Anyway, so in a live situation, most of the time we've been talking about recording in our hangouts. This time we're going to be talking about live only. So try not to get the two confused. I think there's some knowledge you'll get here that will help you in the studio, but mostly this is about helping your singers live, and any singers that are watching, and I hope they are, because you guys, if you're not if singers aren't watching these things, they're losing so much incredible information, because you can't get to producers. You don't know what they want, what they think, unless you're paying them. And then of course, quite often they really won't tell you the truth. Here you get to hear the truth. You get to know what their frustrations are and what skills you need to accomplish your goals. And so this is going to be a live situation for you singers as well. It's your responsibility to sound good on stage. Sometimes you don't have a choice, and that's unfortunate, but it is your responsibility, and we're going to make that really, really clear today as to why it's important. Hallie is an interesting, I'm going to call her a hero today. Because she's kind of a little nervous about doing this, because I'm going to make it so she sucks when she's singing. And that's never pleasant for any singer to be thinking about. But when singers are on stage and they can't hear themselves, everybody thinks they suck. And the problem is that the singer may not suck at all. The singer may be Katy Perry. It may be Aretha Franklin. But you don't know, because they can't hear themselves, and so you just automatically think they're bad singers. And the only reason that I figured this out is at the time as a voice teacher, where I'd have a client come in, and I would notice that trying to do vocal exercises, trying to sing songs where they could hear themselves and everything, they were kind of off key. And but yeah, the guy was telling me how terrific the audiences were responding to his shows. So I took his dare, so to speak, and I went out and I saw the show, and I found out that this guy could never ever hear himself, ever. And then the sad thing after that is that the band made some money doing these shows. The kids loved him because he was such a great performer. They didn't even, he was singing like in different keys. So they were doing Zeppelin songs and stuff like that. He was a different key. I mean, he was off the rhythm. But in the human mind, you're hearing the band and you're hearing the song in your mind, so you think you're on. but your ear has got to hear what's going on, or you are not comfortable. The doctors actually call this, the audiologists, they call it anxiety. When the ear cannot hear the voice, it's like you're drowning, and the body just panics, and it just starts pushing and grabbing muscles and just starts doing all kinds of things. But what I want to say about Hallie, one of the things that's really, really good about Hallie is she doesn't know how to yell. So you probably won't hear that dynamic today, where if it had been a singer who knows how to yell, you'd probably hear the singer yell when they can't hear themselves. That's really, really common. But Hallie's overall ability to sing is too good to demonstrate that. So we may do this again in a few months and try to get somebody who knows how to yell. But you're still going to hear someone who you're going at first you're going to hear her sing well, just like you heard her sing well last session. If you weren't there, you're still going to hear her sing well, because when we first start her singing, she's going to hear herself very well. She's got the headphones on, she's got the music in her ears, she's got her voice in her ears. Everything is very clear to her. It's a great setup. And then, being the devious guy I am, I'm going to take her microphone out of the mix, so she can no longer hear herself at all. All she can do is hear the music. And so her ears are not getting any feedback from her voice. And it'll be interesting to see how you guys, you know, it'd be great with the questions and stuff. It'd be interesting to see how you guys interpret what you see, or I mean what you hear, and be watching her face. You should watch her face as well. What you see and hear as she's going through this struggle, and just how dynamic it is. And then you might be wondering sometimes, you know, maybe when this singer I went out and saw, I thought was really bad, actually was a very good singer, but they just couldn't hear themselves. And the other reason I know that, besides the other example I gave you, is let's say Hallie's a client of mine. I've been pre-producing her. I've worked with her a lot. I know she's always on key. I know she doesn't have vocal bad habits. Blah 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 blah. And then she invites me to a live show, and I go out to the live show, and there she is, a third off. Not her particularly, but she might be yelling. She's way off pitch. Everybody's just thinking, why is this girl even up there singing? I mean, it gets that bad. You know, people just assume that she can't sing. And I'm scratching my head. This was years ago. I'm scratching my head wondering why. Well, I figured out that the reason is because she couldn't hear herself. Because as soon as she comes back into a situation where she can hear herself, then she's doing great. So part of what we're demonstrating and learning today is that if the singer can't hear themselves, they suck. Now, it's the singer's responsibility to make sure that they're well monitored. But let's do this demonstration first, because all of that stuff will be more dramatic after we go through that. So I'm going to start her up. She's going to be singing. She's going to sound good. Then all of a sudden she's not going to sound as good, and then she's going to sound good, and then she's not going to sound as good. She's going to be comfortable, then she's going to be uncomfortable. You'll be watching all that, and you'll just be interpreting it how you want. But, you know, for her sake, pay lots of attention to when she sounds good, because she is an excellent singer, and she is doing us all a huge favor right now.
And we're doing Misery Business by Paramore.
Yeah, unfortunately you won't be able to hear the music, because if you could, then I couldn't, you guys couldn't hear the fact that Hallie is coming and going. So you're going to be hearing this a cappella. Here it comes.
My check 1 2. I'm in the business of misery. Let's take it from the top. She's got a body like an hourglass, is ticking like a clock. It's a matter of time before she all run out. But I thought she was mine. She caught him by the mouth. I waited a long month. She finally set him free. I told him I couldn't lie. You was the only one for me. 2 weeks so we ain't caught on fire. She's got it out for me, but I wear the biggest smile. Whoa, I never meant to brag, but I got him where I want him now. Whoa, never my intention to brag, steal him all away from you now. But God, it feels so good, 'cause I got him where I want him now. But if you couldn't, you know you would, 'cause God, it just feels so. Second chances, they don't never matter. People never change. Once a whore, you're nothing more. I'm sorry, that'll never change. But about forgiveness, we're supposed to rather change. I'm sorry, honey, but I passed it up. Now look this way. There's a million other girls which is like you. Looking as innocent as possible to get to who wanted what they like. It's easy if they do it right. Well, I refuse, I refuse, I refuse. Whoa, I never meant to brag, but I got him where I want him now. Whoa, it was never my intention to brag, steal him all away from you now. But guys, it feels so good, 'cause I got him where I want him now. But if you couldn't, you knew you would, 'cause God, it just feels so. It just feels so good.
Okay, the rest of the song is pretty quiet, so we're not going to bother with that. So, Mott, go ahead and let everybody chime in. Let's get their opinions, and then let's ask Callie how she felt. Mott, are you there? Oh, Mott.
Yeah, he said he had to step out for a second.
Sorry, we've lost our host. We've lost.
He said he had to step out for a second.
All right, well, you guys can unmute yourselves. Okay, yeah, just go ahead and unmute yourselves.
Brad, on my end, unfortunately, I was hearing some kind of a digital problem. It sounded kind of like it was not exactly clipping, but it was like a digital stutter.
Okay, that actually could have been clipping, because when she was not being able to hear herself, like I showed you guys on the sound pressure level the other week,
yes,
her level went way up. But yeah, unfortunately, there are digital problems, and yeah, I unfortunately can't control those.
I can't say exactly when I heard her voice change. I really can't.
Okay.
I could tell when she could hear herself, because the vibrato was more natural. It wasn't forced.
Okay. Anything else?
She definitely did this.
Yeah. Pitchy, huh?
But as soon as the vibrato smoothed out and the tones were there, I could tell she could hear herself. You took it away, and then she was like struggling. She went down and up and down, and she was trying to feel. I think you were probably trying to feel with your throat, maybe, like how loud you were being. It felt like that's what you were doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll ask her about that. But what? So you sounded like you were watching her too. So what did you see in her facial expressions?
She seemed relaxed when she could hear herself, and then you could just see the stress. She looked stressed, like she was really trying to. She was thinking, first of all these people are watching me right now. And I don't know if I'm screaming in the mic or not, but she definitely looks stressed by it.
Yeah, and you'll see now that you have this visual in your mind. Now, when you're at live concerts, you'll see that actually happening, and you'll know why now.
Yeah, that's why I posted it here. I was at a show with Snoop, and he actually stopped the show and told the light guy to shine the spotlight on the front of sound guy, and he had the crowd chanting, "Turn up my mic," and I've seen KRS-One do it, and that's real emceeing. That's controlling the crowd. That's performing. I think that's what all artists should do. And I tell my local artists the same thing. Don't let the front of sound guy slack off and get a drink. Like tell that guy, this is why you guys can't hear me right now. You paid to come and hear me, and the sound guy slacking off. It's not my fault completely. So I don't know. I encourage it.
You're making a great comment there, and I encourage it. And when I talk to my clients about this too, because the sound man doesn't even know that he's causing the problem. And unfortunately, sometimes they get mad when the singer keeps going like this, up, 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 up. And his problem, as we all know, is feedback. Basically, the way this usually goes down, and I was in many bands. I'm just glad I don't have any recordings of me when I was a teenager and I was singing in loud hard rock bands, and we didn't even have monitors. We didn't even know what they were. So I'm glad that information went right through one ear and out the other. Everybody that was listening. Anyway, so generally what happens is at the first of the night, the drummer's not wound up yet, and so he'll play sometimes at a fairly reasonable volume. It just depends, but he'll generally usually play at a fairly reasonable volume, and so the sound check goes well, and the singer's there if there is a sound check. And then what happens is the night goes on, the drummer his adrenaline goes up, and he starts hitting the drums harder. Now, when that happens, the bass player starts to go, wait a minute, where's my bass? I can hear his kick, but I can't hear whether I'm not matching it or not. So he goes over to his amp and he turns up. And then the guitar player starts to notice that all his high end is being buried by mud and beats, and so he goes over and turns his up. And then the keyboard player starts wondering, what happened to the quality of his instrument? And so he goes and he turns up. And so they can all do this without feedback. They don't have this problem. So then the singer does the thumbs up, or even the singer has maybe even has the board on the stage, and they go over there and they try to turn their monitors up, and then they start to get in this heavy squeal. And so at that point, there's nothing that can be done for the singer except for the band to come down. And I don't know how many musicians you guys have worked with, but virtually every one of them I've ever worked with will not turn down. It's just, you have to get a shotgun or something usually. And so when the stage monitors are good, obviously this is not a big problem, but quite often they're not, and that's kind of what we were emulating. Maude, were you able to listen at all? You'll have to turn your mic on.
Yes, yes.
So could you give us your impressions?
It's the same as I said when she did it previously. She sounded comfortable.
Tell everybody else.
Oh yeah, they weren't here.
No, they weren't.
To me, she sounded comfortable, like where she could relax and get into the groove, and then there's points where she sounded I guess uncomfortable is the opposite word, but well, see, I can't even tell you when, like, I'm glad to not know when you're bringing her in and bringing her out, because it forced me to simply listen without judgment, without, like, being able to say, okay, yeah, now he's doing this. And all I could tell was the feeling changed. It went from times of she was able to get into it and feel herself, and times where she wasn't feeling it as well.
Yeah. I love that answer. And I'll tell you why I love that answer, because basically what you've just said now is, hey, it changes the feel. What else is more important than that? We've all decided nothing's more important than that. So, and so as I ask Hallie this next question, what Maude basically just exposed, which is great, because I wouldn't have said it myself, I wouldn't have thought of it, is that when she's struggling to hear herself, she can't be in the story anymore. She can't, her conscious mind can't be there. So this goes back to feel versus non-feel as far as a performance goes. So Hallie, tell us about what you felt when you could hear yourself and when you couldn't hear yourself, kind of what was going on in your mind and in your body.
When I was able to hear myself, I was able to focus more on just creating a vibe and an energy within the song rather than my techniques, because my techniques are generally supposed to be natural. But when I could hear myself, they were natural. And then as soon as I couldn't, I was getting closer to the mic and I was pressing on my earphones more. and I felt my voice straining, so I couldn't figure out if I was screaming it too much or if I wasn't. And then also it messed up a lot with my breathing techniques, especially since this is like a fast-paced rock type of song. Like, I had to really be on point where, like, this is a business woman, so we just take it from the top. She's got a body like an hourglass, is ticking like a clock. And then when I couldn't hear myself, it was like, it was insane, and I hated it. I hated it.
So hate is something a lot of singers say, but they don't do anything about it.
I, on the contrary, do.
You're right.
Whenever I do live shows, I always talk to the sound guy before. Just, I guess, kind of cheese him up a little bit, like, "Hey, you're amazing. Let's work together. Let's be friends." And fortunately, for me being a female, some people are more like open to that, rather than if it was a guy stepping up to them, they're like, "Bro, get out of my face." You know, so I guess they're a bit nicer, and I'm not saying that to be sexist. It's just because I've seen it, and it's so sad. But talking to the sound guy, getting to know him, slip a 20 or give him a slice of pizza or whatever, that generally gets them on your side. And if it doesn't, I do whatever it takes to make myself look really, really good in front of the audience, despite what the sound guy is doing. So I generally just have to roll with the punches. A lot of what I do too, it's like a sneaky technique I use is after I perform like my first song, that's usually like a tester song for me, and then I ask the crowd, like, "Hey, how'd you guys feel? Like, can you guys hear me well? How's the guitar?" And they're like, "Turn up the guitar." I'm like, "All right, you hear that sound guy? Let's turn up the guitar." Things like that. There's always a way around it. You just have to be like hyper aware, because I've been in situations too where I can hear myself tremendously well, but the crowd couldn't hear a damn thing.
So, Hallie, under those circumstances, let's say that you had an opportunity for some A&R people or some investors come out and see your show, and let's say you didn't do any of those things, and you couldn't hear yourself the whole night. What do you think the A&R guy or the investor thought of you?
I'd be screwed. Point and blank. The music industry, they're not a sorry bunch. You either have it or you don't. And if they feel like you don't have it, then you're going to get bypassed and then move on to somebody else, even if you do have it.
So the reason I asked that question is basically what I'm trying to say is, hey, this is critical, guys. I think I've been talking about in-ear monitors since the 80s because Stevie Wonder was using them. They were only $60,000 a pair at the time. So it was very difficult to get very many people to use them. But I thought this hangout was a great way to not only, get this information out live, but now it's also recorded. This is not a luxury to be able to hear yourself for singers.
It's a necessity.
And there are singers that believe that they can hear themselves when they're singing on tune when they can't hear themselves on stage. Maybe. But you would be a very, very unusual person, because my research says, not only from speaking with audiologists, but also doing tests like this with Hallie, that when the singer can't hear themselves, when the ear is not involved, the performance, the quality of the performance just drops immediately. So what is the answer to this problem? Well, it's in-ear monitors, because they don't what? Anybody want to chime in? What do in-ear monitors do not do? That does not cause it. I mean, what is it they don't do that speakers do that cause problems? Feedback. Yes, sir. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Headphone bleed.
Phone bleed. Yeah. I mean, there's just and that's more in the studio, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a stickler for headphone bleed. I hate it.
Yeah, and Mott was asking me about that. So Ben, you haven't really chimed in on what you heard. What did you hear?
Well, it's funny. I'm a producer, mixer engineer, and I do live sound a lot. I work at a venue, so I deal with this issue all night, every day, and I also deal with artists' attitudes and how they deal with communication and the whole aspect. And I firmly believe, I mean, I have pretty good ears. I'm a musician. I think the biggest problem has nothing to do with technology or in-ear monitors or speakers. I'm just giving you my opinion here. It has to do with communication between human beings. And like my personal feeling is that, you know, if you were going to open a business, a shoe store, whatever, the first thing you'd have to do is go to a bank and get a, you know, or get some money to buy some inventory, or, you know, you'd have to front the cost, flip the bill for the rent of the space. There's a certain investment in business. And what I don't understand is in the music industry, if an artist is coming up and really wants to make an impact in the industry, I would think since your product is your sound, you would come out of pocket and you would have your own mixer from day one if you're really trying to win. You can't come to every venue, make a new relationship with a person, and expect your sound to get to a consistent, great level. So my solution of the problem is every artist that's serious about their career needs to have their own sound engineer front of house every single night from day one.
Ben, that's awesome, right? That's excellent right there, right? My issue with that is we have, well, you did say serious, because I was about to say we have a hard time getting people to even pay studio time. And then to get an engineer to come and do front of the house every night, and these people will have families that they, like a person would have a family that they would have, you know, you might have a kid or whatever, you got your bills to pay, then we have to pay for that person. That's going to be a hard one to
you know what?
For most people.
I hate to cut you off, man. I mean, like I said, if you're going to open a shoe store, you'd have to cough up the money to buy some shoes, and you'd have to pay rent on the storefront. So
right. No, what I'm saying is singers. I know singers who do put up money, who actually spend money. They have their own house setups. They're already breaking themselves spending money, and so once they hit that, it can get to a point like if you were to come to me right now and say, well, Maude, if you were serious, I would go and spend blah blah blah. I'd say, bro, I already have $100,000 spent. I can't. So not everybody is going to have the funds, and they're going to be serious. But I mean, I'm with you 100% on the singers being serious and spending the money. But I know that there are singers who've spent plenty of money who just, I mean, so a person works at, say, McDonald's, and they're scrounging up whatever they can to get their CD done. They have to pay to go to the venue. Hell, they have to pay to even be in the venue. And then they have to go and pay for a front of the house, man. So if I wanted to pay you however much that would be, and then every month I still have to eat and who knows what else. What now? I'm not trying to throw off what you're saying. What I'm going to ask you is, what do you suggest for broke artists who really don't have the money and are spending what money they can on, you know, singing or whatever it takes? Not just you, Ben, anybody, does anybody have anything, like any suggestions? Like okay, Ben, how would I team up with you to where it would actually be worth it to you to come and be my front of the house man if I can't really afford you, if I'm actually broke as hell? Because some are. Because what you said is excellent. Like, you're right. Honestly, you're right. But reality is not everybody's going to have that money. And some of us have taken out loans for gear and other stuff.
That becomes right then, what I feel is that becomes, because every project, every artist, every organization, once you have more than 2 people, there's something called management that comes into play, which is making all the critical decisions on who's on the team, how we're going to fund this operation. So if a project isn't managed, there is no, you know, like I said, there's no thought of who's going to be, the front of house guy, who's going to be the monitor guy, all this stuff. And I really don't think it has anything to do with money. It has to do with creating a team. Like you could go to your local college, your local community college, and find a young person that doesn't have years of experience, and you could recruit a young sound engineer and make them a part of the team. They could be, 15 years old. It doesn't really matter, and they might not have all the skills, but over time, if the project is managed properly, that person will integrate into the sound and into the communication aspect of what I feel is a team sport. Music is a team. It's just like the NFL. You need a coach. You need trainers. You need players. You need backup players. You need a stadium. You need a manager. Without all these elements, in this like so-called narcissistic society we live in, where like everybody thinks they can do it all, and a singer comes into a club and starts yelling because they can't hear themselves. I feel like that's a management issue more than a sound issue. But that's just me.
Yeah, don't forget the vocal pre-producer in the team there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And that right there, Ben, that's what I'm looking for is a solution. Because anybody listening to this, we need to give them solutions. And you're absolutely right. Now, team, like a 15-year-old kid, we hear all the time about people from the past who started out when they were 15, 16, like Quincy Jones. I forget how old he started or when he got his first real gig. He was real young. So you're right on point. The solution is not always simply a money case, and people can grow into it. Anybody else, or do you have any other big?
Your 5-year-old cousin.
Huh?
You get your 5-year-old cousin, your 5-year-old nephew involved.
Do you guys mind if I chime in on this?
Please do.
Okay. Well, I see, hear, and agree with both, Ben and Matt's expertise. However, from the artist standpoint, from the serious artist standpoint, being myself, I do agree. It's so important to put your emotions and your money where your mouth is if you are a serious artist, to be able to invest in yourself and to sacrifice the whole journey of that starting artist. It's really important because it shows yourself, most importantly yourself, but also other people, like, oh, okay, this person really is serious about their craft. They really are pushing to go there. However, I can also relate to what Matt's saying because I've struggled with finances for years being an artist. It's beyond expensive to be an artist, and I was aware of that, and I was okay with it too. But getting there, it takes time, and to find that right team, there's a lot of hiccups in the road because that team can take you down too. You hire that 15-year-old who has promise, who may seem like he knows what he's doing, but as soon as he gets up there, he chokes and he makes you look bad. It took me years to find someone like Brad. I didn't come out the woodworks sounding like I did, and then Brad just came along like, hey, I'm going to train you. It took me years to find someone like Brad, and since I've been with Brad, my sound has gotten so much better. So much better. But having that team, having that management, having those finances take time, and at the same token, don't let the time bog you down. Like, you have to grind. You have to get there. It's necessary, just like Ben is saying, but just all those elements have to be kept in mind, that it takes time, it takes money, and most of all, it takes hunger and perseverance to be an artist. Artists aren't here to make money. They're here to share. So they need the money to be able to share it.
Okay, guys, I've got... go ahead, Ron.
I was about to ask Hallie, how much money... Okay, have you bought your own in-ear monitors yet, Hallie?
No, I have not bought my own in-ear monitors.
Okay, now you just said you're a serious artist, right? So I'm going to judge you real quick. You're a serious artist. You're over here with Mr. Brad. You know how dope he is. You trust his judgment. You don't have in-ear monitors. Why? If you're a serious artist?
Because, in all honesty, I didn't really learn much about in-ear monitors until I met Brad, and he started talking to me about them about 2 weeks ago. And since then, we have been talking about investing in them, finding the right ones for me.
And how much are the cheapest ones that you know of?
The cheapest ones are about $300. $400. Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna do it because I know it's necessary, and especially after this demonstration today, and especially knowing that I'm actually doing a live show later today in the city of Long Beach, and after this I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous because I'm thinking to myself, oh great. So
I have wondered why people don't have their own live sound man, like what Ben was talking about. And then with Brad bringing up this in-ear monitor stuff, I'm sitting here like, hold on, that should be a basic tool that you guys have. And I know, like, this right here is going to help educate some people and let them know that, you know, this is a worthy investment.
Yeah, and that's the important part, education. You know, it's not enough to just feel it and be an artist. You have to understand these things. And like I said, working with Brad has opened my eyes up to a lot more things I wasn't aware of. I've heard of in-ear monitors, but I didn't know much about them until he brought them to my attention like 2 weeks ago, and he said, hey, you need to look into this. And I said, really? Is it necessary? And he said, I'll show you how necessary it is in 2 weeks. And I said, okay. So now I'm thoroughly convinced.
I've got a poster on my wall for in-ear monitors too. Let me chime in here because I think I can save us a lot of time because this has been an issue. Like I said, for me, I've been on the soapbox for 30 years, so I've come up with a lot of different solutions. I really like, is it Ben? I really like Ben's idea. It's not one that I thought of because everybody learns. The 15-year-old learns, you know. And I remember when we had our bands in the 60s, you know, we were. I was just old enough that we were kind of late. I mean, we weren't really like in the real roots of it. I have a client named Bobby Caldwell. That guy was with Edgar Winter's Blues Band. I mean, those guys, you know, he's played with some of the guys, the Yardbirds, and I mean, those guys, those were the real pioneers, you know, of loud, you know, distorted guitars, which is where the vocal problems actually started coming from, the loud drums and the loud guitars. But we, you know, we used to have friends who would be our sound guys. I mean our roadies. And so you can get a lot of volunteer help. And everybody learns from that. The singer, you know, like Ben says, everybody learns how to communicate. You know, so I kind of like the idea just on this one point, and then I'll go on to the expense point that Mott so reasonably brought up. Is that the singer can learn how to be a manager, which I think is really important because even when you have your own manager, like Hallie was saying, that doesn't mean your manager's doing a good job for you.
Yeah.
So yours is the only ass on the line, really, when it all comes down to it. Everybody blames the singer. How many times have you heard, oh, the band was great, the singer sucked? Yeah. You know, after somebody's come from a live show. So here's the money side of this. Okay, first of all, yes, it is the singer's responsibility. I don't know what, like I said, singers have a tendency to walk up on a stage and just expect everybody to take care of them. Don't really know where that comes from because I was never that way. I always ran my own sound systems. I always had my own microphones.
Ego.
Yeah, ego, whatever. You know, as many of those guys as I've worked with, I don't understand, you know, where they come from, where they think everybody should hand them a microphone and a $200,000 PA system, and, you know, hand them a $2,000 set of in-ear monitors and just go, you know, here, go sing. But there are some really cost-effective ways to deal with this in-ear monitor situation. First of all, you start off with a splitter. And they're very inexpensive, and they can be a XLR splitter. So you've got, what have you got? You've got 1 in and 2 outs, as I recall. I don't have that thing in here. I'd show it to you. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so what the singer does is the first thing they do is they walk up, they grab the XLR out of the mic here, and they stick it in the splitter. Now, this microphone now can go to 2 places. It can go to the sound man, which is where it was going in the first place, and it can go wherever the singer wants it to go to. So in this case, as somebody mentioned, why doesn't the singer have their own mixer? Well, the singer can't have their own mixer on stage with them on a little stand. And they can completely control their own vocals from there. They can control the volume, the treble, the reverb. They control everything, and it doesn't affect the sound man at all. He really, in effect, shouldn't really care. And because, again, the singer with this mixer should have in-ear monitors with it, that really completely solves the problem for the singer. Again, it's been amazed how many times I've given that advice and how rarely it's been taken. The other option, which is really, really inexpensive, is it doesn't have to be $300 in-ear monitors. And it doesn't have to be wireless. Everybody, you know, first thing when you say in-ear monitors, everybody thinks $1,000. Well, part of what everybody is forgetting is that $1,000 is $600 or $700 worth of wireless equipment. You don't need that. You can run a live wire just like you run a live wire out of a guitar. You know, it's a nice thing to have, but you don't need it. So then we've got the cost down to, if we go with a really nice set of in-ear monitors where the audiologist has done the mold for it. Now we've gone anywhere from $300 to $1,800 just to be an audiophile. You know, in other words, I want the $1,800 ones because I can afford it and I really want to sound good to myself. But there's even a cheaper option. You could buy a $50 pair of earbuds and stick them in your ears, and if you don't have your own mixer, just run it right to the sound engineer and let him plug it into his monitor out, and then just tell. Then when the singer says thumbs up to the sound guy, all he has to do is turn their little headset up. Now, people will love to find ways to complain about this. Well, that sounds like shit, man, and I'm not hearing the bass very well, and you know, the inner monitor companies hear this stuff all the time. You know, all the bass drops out whenever my inner monitor slips. You know, so if you want to sound like shit up there, there's no reason anybody should stop you. Go ahead. I know, I'm sorry about the attitude, but I'm just kind of getting there that way about this. If you don't give a damn about how you sound in front of people, you know, go for it. But it's so easy to solve this problem that it's just unreal. And so, you know, get over yourselves. Take responsibility for yourself, just like any guitar player would. And maybe you don't have to have your own microphone. I think it's a good idea. Maybe you don't have to have a splitter and a mixer. I think it's a good idea. But at the very least, you should be able to afford $50 for a little set of earbuds that your sound man can run out of his monitor out. It's not perfect, no, but you'll be able to hear yourself a lot better, and that will be a lot more important than all the other complaints that you can come up with. What do you guys think of that?
That's a great solution. Amazing.
Thanks, Ben. It's taken a lot of years.
There's one more guy. I got to run. I just want to say one more thing. There's one more guy that needs to be on the team. You got your front of house guy, obviously, and your sound engineer. There's something called a musical director, an MD. That's job it is to make sure during sound check that all the musicians are backing the artist correctly. That means they're conducting the sound check. They're making sure that the musicians are playing with dynamics and supporting the artist rather than. So Brad, when you're talking about that drummer that started, you know, bashing over a vocalist, that's why musical directors are there, so they can put all that stuff at check. The artist shouldn't be fighting with the band. The musical director should be fighting with the band and demanding that they support that artist. So that was my point.
I love that point, and I also love those drum cages.
An MD and a sound guy. It's like if you're gonna open a I said a shoe store before. if you're gonna open a restaurant, you gotta get some olive oil, some garlic. You're gonna have to splurge, man. Otherwise, it's not gonna be a successful business. So just get a good MD, run sound check, crack down on all the musicians, make sure that the artist is coming through, and make sure that you have a good sound engineer. And if you invest in the beginning, over time, you will sound better than 99.9% of those local artists that don't invest in themselves in the right way.
Hey,
And
Ben.
wouldn't that give you a hell of a lot better chance of getting a record deal?
Hell yeah.
Hey,
Wouldn't
Ben.
that give you a hell of a lot better chance of selling your CDs and having a huge fan base?
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Ben,
Go ahead, Matt.
have you worked with people who use in-ear monitoring when you were the front of house guy?
All the time, man. And here's a funny story, because I do 3 nights a week now. It's kind of been this thing. I mean, and I never set out to be a front of house guy, but every Sunday night I mix Mexican music, right? And I mix rock bands, R&B groups, and sometimes there's salsa night. So you got all these different kinds of bands, and it's usually it's a local venue. We're not talking top-notch artists, but it's kind of in disarray most of the time. You don't have musical directors. You don't have
Turn your headphones down. Is that nicer?
You don't have people really organized. You get a lot of schlocky music, but every Sunday night these Mexican bands roll up in this van, and it doesn't matter how much money they're making. They bring in their own engineer with their own in-ear monitors, and even they'll roll in their own mixer, and they'll all have the same outfits. They'll just be decked out, and I'm like, these guys care so much about their music. It'll be like a 20-piece or like a 16-piece banda group, and they will have everything dialed in. I don't even know if anybody's getting paid, because there's so many people that roll in. But this is every Sunday night. So the whole norteño banda cats, they're on it. And that's the only genre of music on a low level that I'm seeing that they're just really all about it. So yeah, these guys roll in with their in-ear monitors. They roll in with their racks of wireless microphones, their own monitor mixer engineer, and then they got a manager all in my ear making sure that everything's good. I'm like talking.
You know what, Ben? I believe they're Mohican. However it's said, there's a group that I help, right? And it's just like that. You would think they had Beyonce, like they were a band that's up there with Beyonce, because I had to ask. I was like, who are you guys? Because of how serious they were and the stuff that they have. We need an interpreter. Luckily, I can speak a little bit of Spanish, but I actually need an interpreter to talk with them as I help them, because they're straight from Mexico. I'm out in California, and these guys, but like I say, these guys are serious, and their community supports it. I don't know if they have any Brads around, but I do know that these guys, like you have people. This one guy, he's like 70 years old, plays like 8, 9 instruments, and he'll stand up there like when it's time to record, he plays all. I don't know where this dude learned or what's going on, but he is on it. But the whole band, the money behind them, everything that they have, they invest. So yeah, I've seen what you're talking about. Wait, but hold on. Brad's going to have to go in a little while too. So Brad, let's get back on topic with whatever what else did you want to get out, Brad? Before because me and Ben, we'll go off into all kinds of stuff.
Well, actually, today, unless you guys have a question, I mean, that was pretty much what I wanted to handle today. I want to keep, mixing things up so that we're not getting bored with all this. There was something. I was in a hangout with. Oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I was in a hangout with Khalif, and he was talking about some of the great singers he's worked with, and how they seem to understand the microphone. And there's as we showed with the sound pressure level, basically my coaching style is to help the singer learn how to control it within themselves, which is one of the reasons Hallie didn't yell as much as she would have had she not had that kind of coaching. But that is a big deal, is the singers using microphones a lot, as much as possible, wearing headphones at home, PA systems at home, because I'm pretty sure a lot of the examples that Khalif was talking about, how this singer seemed to just automatically know how to do this, and just seemed to automatically know how to do this, is from just experience. And they just have a feel. He mentioned how a singer will use the proximity effect to actually color the emotions. And I know I do that sometimes. A mic tech. This is one of the few mic techniques that I actually teach. Is like if the note is too low. So let's say I'm not Lou Rawls. So Lou Rawls comes in and he says, "You'll never find." Now you can't hear the mic, so sorry, you're not going to really be able to hear what this does. But if I'm like, "You'll never find," because it's too low for me, there's probably not really anything I can do about that. That's just the human voice. That's really once it bottoms out, it's over. You really can't change that much. So, but one thing you can do with a mic is, if you're generally singing about this far from the mic, if you've got some distance that you're using, then if you're singing up in a comfortable range, and then all of a sudden you've got to drop to a low note, "Oh, I feel so," the mic will compensate, and the proximity effect will compensate for the fact that you don't have enough baritone or enough bass voice to pull that off. And same with the women, they can get more of an alto sound if they need to. And I know you guys do that. You guys let singers do that in the studio sometimes. I think it's a great idea. So that's another thing about just monitoring yourself in general. Is the more you hear yourself as a singer through a mic, through headphones, through in-ear monitors, because there's a getting used to those period, by the way, that some singers complain about as well. Again, if you're serious about this, like we'd all like the singers to be, it's going to make a huge difference just practicing with equipment. Don't assume that when you're doing your vocal exercises that you shouldn't be doing that on a mic. You should. But, people don't. This microphone, or in this case right now over Skype, that microphone on my camera is the only reason you can hear me. I could have a voice 10 times louder than Caruso, and none of you could hear me. So what are you actually hearing? You're hearing that microphone. I create something acoustically, but then it all becomes electronic beyond that point. So the singer really needs to have a feel for that the audience is hearing something electronical. They're not hearing anything acoustical. Can't think of anything else.
Brad, I'd like to give. May I?
Go ahead.
Please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, right on that same note, Brad, is something that I've done is, and this is kind of crazy. I got it from my dad. He was a performer when I was a kid, and back then they had it was a 8, what is it called, Super 8 film. They'd set up a Super 8 film in their recording space, and I was like the film guy. I got to turn it on, I think I was maybe 7 years old. But then they'd look back at their performance, and I've taken that a step further. It's so much easier now to just do a screen capture. You can use the same web mic you have. You can use your freaking iPhone or Android. It doesn't matter. But I record the singer so they can see. They get to see what they're doing from a different point of view, not from their mind's eye, but from actually with their own 2 eyes. And then I get them to experiment with the mic in the mirror. And I always leave the headphones on them, and if they have their own in-ears, then they have those in. But it helps them get comfortable with knowing that they still are who they are. And I know that sounds a little esoteric or a little out there, but when a new thing is introduced, there is a level of uncomfortableness, and to get over that, so you can get back into the story, as it were, of your song. You can't be uncomfortable about any of the technology.
Why in the mirror?
Oh my gosh.
Because they get to see it. They get to see it. It gives them a, well, try it, Mahat, and then you'll get the answer. If you're going to sing a song and you want, we used to do some Elvis stuff. I used to do a Roger Whittaker impersonating Elvis. Okay. In other words, I'm the singer, and I'm going to say, I'm impersonating Roger Whittaker impersonating Elvis. I'd sing Sunrise, Sunset, from the Fiddler on the Roof, and some crazy shit like that, right? And it gave me a lot of artistic liberty, believe me. And the whole idea was, it'd be entertaining, right? It didn't really matter if I sang all that great. When I looked into the mirror, I could say, well, geez, I kind of look like Roger Whittaker when I'm doing this. Right now, how do I get a little Elvis in there? Because as a performer, I'm using the visual as well as the sound. All right, now I can do the same thing in the studio or promote the same thing in the studio. You're looking in the mirror. I wish I could take this camera and show you. We got a big mirror in our vocal booth. I used to think it would mess up the sound, but it doesn't. It doesn't cause any issues, man. Because there's enough absorption and sound control and diffusion in our booth that it doesn't make a difference. And it just allows us. I really just, you got to do it. I don't really know the words to explain it, but it allows you to get comfortable with yourself. You get to see your facial expressions. Go ahead, Holly.
Yeah, Hallie's dying over there to get it out. Go ahead, Hallie.
I'm not dying, but it's just I can relate to this because when I first started performing, one of my biggest problems was I was so comfortable that I wasn't aware of myself. I didn't know what facial expressions I was doing. I didn't know exactly what I was doing with the mic. And one of the most pausing questions that you can ask any artist who isn't aware of themselves is, who are you? What are you about? And it's like working out in front of the mirror when you're singing and all that, that's how you get to know who you are. You figure out your looks, you figure out your tendencies, you figure out your techniques, And me personally, I don't just use a mirror, but I also use my laptop or my phone. I'll bring a friend over like, hey, record me rehearsing this song really quick so that I can look at it later. I want to be able to see, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, that was good, that needs to go. And my laptop is a really important tool for me as well. Because, for instance, if you look on my YouTube channel, I did a recent song, Alicia Keys, If I Ain't Got You, I did that with Brad. Before I did that, him and we worked on it for a couple weeks just to make sure that my presence within the camera was just on point. And the only way I could do that was put my laptop in front of me so I can see myself playing, and then also to be able to watch it later. And another exercise I did was to record it without being able to see myself, so I can see what I'm doing when I can't get that direct visual. Because it's so important to be aware of what you're doing, because it's the only way to be able to communicate what you want to your audience. So that's why recording yourself, even in just the rehearsal phase or practicing in front of a mirror on a normal basis, is very, very important for an artist.
Okay, now I pictured Hallie or somebody walking into the booth and seeing a mirror for the first time, and how would that be good or bad if that happened?
Well, if there's an artist that's stepping into the booth and seeing a mirror for the first time, do you mean in general, like they've never watched themselves rehearse before, or
while
just
recording? Like it's time to record.
While recording.
Yeah, it's time to record this song. You're ready. You walk in, and here's a mirror where you're looking at yourself.
Well, okay, I can't speak for every artist, but for me personally, I'll say, oh, what's that for? And then the engineer will explain it. Oh, okay, cool. Let's go. That's how I feel. I think I could pull it off just fine because I practice in front of the mirror. And also, artists need their ego in order to perform, not to mask their performance, but in order to get that performance out. And it's not even to look in the mirror and tease yourself like, oh, I look good, I look amazing. But it's to see your expressions, making sure you're doing it right, making sure you're pulling up that attitude, especially like in rock music, like when I was doing Misery in Business. You have to feel it, because feeling is everything. And if you're feeling a little bit ill-confident, you don't know what you're feeling, then put a mirror in front of you. That'll tell you the truth.
Very good. I could see myself as an artist, like if I'm getting in the booth to rap, I could see putting a mirror in there and well, all right. Sometimes like I do characters. So if I'm about to be Michael Jackson and I got a mirror in the booth, and I would really get in. I would really start entertaining myself.
But you gotta be careful with that too, because you don't want the ego to take over the feel. You need to find a balance, of course, and that's why it's so important to have someone that already has experience in front of the mirror. Like for me, and since I did some modeling, some acting too, so I'm used to having something or someone in my face making me perform. Like, there you go, turn it on. You know, that's what it is for me. So I don't know, I just get it, but it's so important to have that training and that understanding in order to execute it. Because if you're in a recording studio and all you can stare at is yourself, then you need to get out of that recording studio. You don't belong there, because that's not what it's all about.
And that was the other part of I was going to talk about the mirror was the distraction, how it could actually hurt, how it could actually take away, because a person, instead of getting into what they're doing, they're focused on the mirror. So
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, I would actually bring a mirror. If a person is not doing something, I would do something like hang pictures up. Like if we're supposed to do a murder scene and the whole atmosphere is happy, you know, I'd go get something from what's the movie? Say Hello to My Little Friend. You guys know.
Yeah.
Pictures like
Godfather.
Was that it? Godfather?
No, it was the guy. It was the Cuban mafia guy, mobster.
Oh, well then.
Shame on us for not knowing this.
Scarface.
I'm too focused on my music. I don't have time for movies. That's what it is.
Well, see, I would hang up pictures like Bruce Lee, or like for certain scenes, like whatever is needed, right? And sometimes a mirror, I could see where a mirror would definitely make a change to help. I would do stuff like that, like hang up a mirror, depending.
Yeah, sometimes
you can always unhang it, you know.
What'd you say?
You can unhang the mirror. You know, you can cover that up when it's not needed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about modification. Not every artist has the same needs. You know, for me, I wouldn't need a mirror in the recording studio, but would I mind it? No. And if it's distracting me, I'll say, hey, can we put it away? Or I just won't look at it. It's all about modification, whatever is comfortable, but also without becoming hostile about it. Like, yeah, get that mirror out of here. Or, yeah, I need a mirror. It's about everyone reading, because it's about capturing a moment, you know.
Thank you guys. Was it James? Who said the mirror? Joseph?
Yeah.
Thank you for the mirror idea. I'm gonna be trying that one out.
Oh, you're welcome.
Brad, the whole idea of getting them to wear headphones and use a mic like that all the time. I'm gonna start doing that as soon as they walk in. Even just to talk to me, they need to have a headset on and a mic. Like I can give them a handheld mic where they walk around, and even do stuff like, okay, I need a deeper voice from you. Don't change your tone. Just bring the mic closer to you, so that they start doing that. I already, I forget. I don't know. I talked to so many people on Pensado students that I forget who I said what to. But I explained to somebody that just recently I had a singer turn her back to the mic and sing, and that vocal was like say she needed to do a character voice or yell or do an ad lib. That vocal was in the track and it sounded different. I actually created a different sound by moving her around. I even had her go to the back of the mic and sing up toward the ceiling, and you had this. The digital reverb just did not give me that sound. It was a whole different thing. And every time that moment came up when she yelled, when she was in the back of the mic yelling up at the ceiling, she was like, "Yeah!" It caused a feeling inside her. So yeah, mic technique, different sounds that you can get from the mic, awesome. Anything else you want to cover, Brad?
Can I ask Brad a question?
Well, I was just thinking, yeah, let's just do the question and answer part.
Go ahead, Ben.
Okay, hey Brad, I was working with a vocalist the other day in the studio, and she was flat, and then she was flat again, and then she was really flat, and then she was flat. And
then,
so I was,
when you told her that, did she slap you?
no, you know, I have good bedside manners. I was trying all, you know, the psychology. Okay, you sound great, but she was about a half step off pretty much the whole session, and so the next issue was, so then I tried the trick of I guess making the music a little bit louder, so she couldn't hear herself as well, and therefore she'd have to push to get to, you know, give some more, and that didn't work. So I mean, and then the funny thing is when we sit down on a piano and we're not recording and we, you know, practice scales and whatnot, she sounds pretty good. Like she can hit pitches, but when she's just singing, it's like it has to be an exercise, a do re mi thing for her to actually be in pitch. She starts singing and it goes out the window.
So that's true without the headphones as well?
It's just true in general, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
So we did a lot of intervallic studies. I mean, she's having a hard time reaching, like a major 6 was, you know, really hard for her. But whatever the case is, I need to figure out how to unflat a singer.
Hold on, before you answer, Brad, I'm kind of lost. Are you saying with the piano, no headphones, she sings, she's good, but with headphones, she's bad?
No, and I hope she never sees this video because she'll know I'm talking about her.
Okay, flat.
But she can't really sing. She can't really sing in pitch, but she can do exercises in pitch. She can do like do, re, mi, fa, sol. But once she gets it, and once we're, you know, it's a song, forget about it.
What that is a lack of development on her part, and actually, I go through this all the time when people bring in, you know, I say, okay, well, what song do you want to do, and they say, well, you know, I want to do Paramore, you know. So if they're not very prepared, then sometimes I'll have to have them sing it with Paramore. And like you say, they'll be on pitch most of the time because they're accustomed to unison work. And then as soon as you take the vocal out, like you find a karaoke version, or if I use my software and take the vocal out, then all of a sudden they can't stay on pitch anymore. And there's two reasons for this. One is the brain has not literally memorized the melody. They're dependent on the piano or another singer. I call that the co-pilot dependency. They can fly a plane as long as someone else is flying it. You know, they're okay there. They feel comfortable. But as soon as you take the pilot out of the plane and stick them in there, the plane's falling all over the place. And it's because they haven't trained themselves well enough. They have to sing. There's two issues with that. First of all, they have, like I said, they have to have it in their brain. What is the melody? It's got to be totally memorized without help. The second is you know, when we're singing with chord structures and things, we're actually singing in harmony. We're not singing in unison.
I lost Brad's mic. Do you guys hear him?
No sound.
Brad, we don't hear you. There you go. You're back.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I see the little green light going on. Where did I end off?
Somewhere around, they're singing in harmony.
Not in
Oh,
unison.
okay, yeah. So when you're singing with chords, you're in effect you're singing with harmonies. You know, you're not singing unison anymore. So if I play an E chord and I have to sing the sixth of that chord, if that sixth is not in there, I have to have the melody memorized deeply enough in my mind to sing that note over that chord. I can't depend on the chord having the note there for me or the piano. So she needs to go through the training, and this is how I usually do it. Are the songs original, or?
Yeah, they're her songs, and she knows the melody. She knows her song. She's not trying to memorize the melody. She just can't sing her own song.
But she can sing her own song if you're playing the melody for her?
No, not really. She can sing she can sing in pitch if she's doing a solfege exercise, but she just can't sing songs without being tremendously flat.
Okay, well, I probably, the best answers I'd probably have to work with her one-on-one to find, because it could be like 20 different reasons. But
Yeah.
Generally speaking, it's lack of practice. It could be vocal technique problems. What I would suggest that you do with her, can you play her melodies on the piano that she's written?
Yeah, for sure. But here's the question, really. I understand that, you know, preparation, education, and practice. She's obviously unprepared. But let's say, you know, it's $1 million session. Or not $1 million. Very rarely do sessions cost $1 million. But let's say there's a lot of money being spent in the studio and somebody's singing flat. What's the right then and there solution to that problem?
Can you bring in a pilot vocal? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. That's a good idea.
Yeah, what I was going. You were about to ask about play the piano. I was going to say what would happen if you played the melody on the piano and then she had to sing with that melody and match that melody, like if that melody was to help her.
Yeah, and then then when you mix it, of course you take that out.
So the what I deal with in this particular situation is not only is she flat, but if you try to help her, she doesn't want to be helped, so she's got a block in her attitude in terms of she wants to already be there. So anything that you would do in a session with her that would take more time, she's counting the money, she's like getting nervous. So, you know, in this particular situation, you know, it's kind of a lose-lose. But I'm just...
And that happens. Sometimes you just lose. The one thing, if you can find a way to communicate to her so that every change you're helping her make makes her feel more professional, more like a star, more like someone you respect, then you might be able to get rid of that feeling of, oh, you don't think I can do this.
Yeah, it's tough.
Hey, Ben.
It is. It's very tough. What I do all day.
I'm a down and dirty results type guy, right? I'll suggest stuff that'll make other people vomit, right? So take this with, however you want, right? Me, with the people that I work with, I would bounce the track down. It would be a 2-track, right? And then I would pitch it slightly up and have her singing to that. This is what I would do. Or I would pitch her reverb. Like if she had reverb and delay, I would pitch them up, and so she would be referencing that. So these are the type of things that I personally would attempt.
Use auto-tune on the reverb send?
I would pitch it. A pitch shifter effect?
Yeah.
An actual pitch shifter. I would put a reverb and a pitch shifter together to where the reverb is pitched up.
Check you out, man. I like that.
These are the type of things I would do, and I wouldn't tell the singer. I would just do and then let them react naturally and see what would happen. And you may find something, that may work. If it doesn't, blame me, bro. Just say, if this crazy dude named Mod said try it, and I gave it a try. Forget him. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and just roll with it.
Wow. That pitch reverb, they're singing, and they're like, "Wow, I sound really good, man."
They will hear the pitch. They will hear the pitch up, and they might adjust to it. I've had that happen, and like with pitching the track, like if you list like big bands or whatever, they would do things like slow tempo down and mess with you, or they would actually go up and help a singer. Like they were able to do little stuff to help. With us, the only thing that I know how to do is take sound. I'm not one of those composer dudes who can do all this great stuff. So I just come up with down and dirty stuff. And like I said, I would have the whole song bounce to a 2-track and simply put a pitch shifter on it, render it actually, or I would pitch it up a cent or two, whatever it takes. You said a half step, pitch it up a half step, and and just told them, look, if they notice it, I would say just give it a shot, see what happens. And then if it worked, let them come in and hear and say, look, it worked. And you can always go back to the original, mix, the real mix later. But just give that a shot. Have them sing to a pitched up track.
That's that's ingenious, bro. Thank you, man. That was sliced.
So then
bread was before they sliced it.
Yeah, there's a similar thing that Khalif was talking about that he ran into with Patti LaBelle.
Hold on, he's gonna beat you up for calling him Khalif.
Oh, what is it?
Khalif with a Q.
Khalif. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely okay. Khalif. And what he was talking about, actually, it wasn't a pitch problem, but she was singing so loud that he knew she sang super, super loud before the session started, and so he put compression on her right away, and she noticed it. She said, "You get that off of there." So he was really stuck in the middle here because, you know, she might sound great singing, but the recording is going to sound really bad, and so, you know, how's he going to deal with that? Well, like you were saying, Mott, don't tell him what you're doing. He started sneaking the compression in slowly.
Did she notice it over time? Because some artists really do notice that stuff. For her, I would have to set up another mic further back that would not, you know, pick that up. And even a different, like the dynamic mics can take more. But Patti is like, Patti can belt. It's crazy. Yeah. I've never worked with it, but man.
Yeah, some people's voices are just really.
I got a quick question for you, Brad.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I got a quick question for you. Could you post on your Facebook page? Could you link your recommendations for the earbuds so that we can check that out later?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have. And I'll post the contradiction I have in there. But yeah, I will.
Also, on the post that I created in Pensado Students on this, I've posted a few articles simply talking about this type of stuff. If you guys end up wanting to.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was really cool.
And James had a question for you.
Yeah. First, I want to say thanks to Joe. Yeah, because video is really good. I've been practicing my harmonica in my car for like 2 years, right? And I get up on stage and I'm blowing and going, and I don't know I'm doing it, but here's what the audience is looking at. You know, they're looking at the top of my head.
Yeah.
You know, and my wife is like, "Man, you got to change your stage presence, man. You look like crap up there." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You know, so she took a video of me, and then I'm like, "Wow, yeah, that's really bad." You know?
You need a hat sponsor.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, we recorded some stuff. They snuck a video, audio recorder in on us last Tuesday night, and I'm singing along, and it's just a bunch of barnyard instruments, and we're all just jamming to wagon wheel. You know, we're all singing, and I'm singing, and I can hear myself, and I'm really sharp compared to everybody else. And I think it's just something natural that my ears hear. And I'm wondering if, you know, if a microphone has a proximity effect, do your ears also have a proximity effect or something going on when you have those in-ears? Because I think
with in-ear monitors?
Yeah, it's something you're going to have to get used to, right?
Yeah, that's why I was recommending that singers always wear. You see, in my studio here, you can see how he's got headphones on. I've got headphones on, and if I'm doing even something as simple as, you know, solfege, which I don't use, but if I was teaching somebody solfege, I would still have them on headphones and a mic, so that they're getting used to their whole world being microphones. I have had actual highly professional singers come to me with that complaint. Say, every time I walk in the studio, I suck. I say, well, how do you practice? Oh, I don't know. I just you know, just practice in my room with my piano or whatever. I says, okay, start practicing with headphones and a mic all the time. You know, make it a part of your life. So when you walk in the studio, it just feels like home. And it does wonders. I rarely have any problems with pitch when my clients are here with their headphones on. It's very rare. And when I'm making corrections for their pitch, guess what? I'm making it with them wearing headphones. Yeah. So it's relevant to the recording. I'm not fixing pitch for Broadway. I'm fixing pitch for recording or live stage performing. It made sense to me in 1979 when I first started deciding to try to help people sing. It just seemed natural to me. So I always recommend it.
I can definitely vouch for that too. Because before I met Brad, I had a couple other vocal coaches. We would just practice in a room that was either stagnant or that had a lot of open space so that I can hear myself. And nothing's better than having headphones on. Because even when I was off pitch, I still couldn't really hear that. Like, I'm like, are you sure? Well, what part? I can't tell. But when I have the headphones on, it's like I get to face my worst enemy. I'm like, I can hear everything. It's so scary. Because even when I first walked in the room with Brad and he had put headphones on me, I was like, what are you doing? Why are we doing this? Are we recording? Are you recording me? And he told me, yeah, I am recording you so you can listen to it later. Not only practice, but hear when you're really good and when you're a little bit off. And I said, well, why do we need them right now while we're, just doing vocal warm-ups? Because vocal warm-ups, you need to hear it too. And I said, okay. I was nervous. I didn't know. It was new to me. But now I'm so accustomed to it, working with him the past few months. And now, to me, like, it's become so important. It's like second nature. Now I can just focus on my emotions because I know my pitch and my sound is right on point.
Somebody mentioned the word narcissist. I actually love the way I sounded in my headphones.
Me too.
Now, you said something about second nature and stuff, and it's like our body, it customizes itself to our environment, right? So yeah. I'm walking around all day without any headphones, and then I go in there, and all of a sudden I put something on like that. It's going to throw me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you got to just become accustomed to it. Like,
just a simple example is just when you go to a friend, to a new person's home for the very first time, they've invited you over.
Smells
and
like
you're
cat.
Nervous.
Yeah.
You don't know what to touch. You don't know what you shouldn't touch. You're not sure what to say. You don't know the people, blah, 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 blah. But then after you've gone over to their house 20, 30 times, next thing you know, you're grabbing beers out of their fridge. And, it changes you entirely. And so, yeah, there's a whole kind of a muscle memory psychological thing going on there that, and I think I've actually posted this on my webpage. A producer said that quite often an artist doesn't even become good enough to be a star until they've done their third or fourth album. Well, from my perspective, what does that mean? That means that they have recorded it took 3 or 4 albums for them to get good enough and comfortable enough in the recording studio to make something sellable. So that's one of the reasons I decided to call what I do vocal pre-production, because basically what I'm doing is I'm saving those first 2 or 3 records. I'm creating artists that walk in the studio and they're already ready. They already know what it feels like. They love it. They wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And then that saves doing 2 or 3 very expensive records that don't sell.
Yeah.
So there's a big savings in money as well.
Ghost, you had a question?
Yes, Brad, is there anything you would recommend people to, artist-wise, to listen to kind of help maybe tune their ears to be in tune with pitches and keys and things like that outside of just music in general? Like classical or vocalist music?
It's called, well, first, okay, it depends on what your goal is. Let me ask you this. Is the goal like perfect pitch?
No, the goal would be inflection.
Oh, no. All right. Then they should pick singers that are in their genre that they can relate to, that they really believe in. Because when you sing along with another singer, you are picking up their inflections. That's actually in today's music. Like when I have a person learn a new song, I have them learn it from the singer. I don't play it on the piano for them. That won't even work, because they're not learning the genre. All they're doing is learning how to sing along with a piece of sheet music. That's a very old style learning. If you want to be a blues singer, you've got to sing with blues singers. If you want to be a rock singer, you've got to practice with rock singers. If you want to be a folk singer, you've got to practice with folk singers. If you want to be an opera singer, you need to be in that world. And that kind of goes back to like what we were saying about, what are you used to? And so, yeah, I would tell the artist, practice with singers that you really you don't want to be, because then you're not going to be an artist anymore. But artists that you want to learn artistic tools from, artists that you want to get colors from. You might say you're building your palette. Does that make sense in your question?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I have a common thing a lot of my guys are doing right now is they say, hey, Raphael Sadiq, you know, he rolls off his phrases so beautifully, and how do I roll my phrases off Raphael Sadiq-esque or John Legend? And I suggest the same thing you do. I just try to tell them, well, just listen to him, sing with him, and try to hear yourself above his voice. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's also very simple nowadays to have recording software on your computer, or go out and buy a little 4-track Tascam or whatever, and you can actually like Joseph was saying is sing along with the person and record it, and then listen back to yourself, and you can even take that take the singer out of the mix and see. Or mix the singer, louder or softer, and see how well you're matching.
And then grab the acapella and compare that too. Which I have a question about that. When I grab an acapella, I can really get into the nuances that these singers are doing, or rappers, whatever. But my question is, if I were to have, say, a singer sing with, say, Michael Jackson or Anita Baker, Whitney Houston, and it's just the acapella that they're singing with, and what's good, what's bad about that? Because you can really hear what the singer is doing and match it.
Well, it's probably all good as far as as far as that particular goal is concerned. Yeah, I mean, if you can isolate Whitney's voice, or if you can find acapella versions of her, that's fantastic. Yeah, you got to realize these are the people that set the standards, and so. If you don't imitate something about what they're doing, you probably would be considered out of that genre. In other words, you'd be singing. What's the way to explain it? Let's just take the national anthem. So the old way of teaching somebody to sing the national anthem is. A guy sits at the piano and he plays your notes, and you go, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Well, that's very old style, and there was a good reason for that, and blah 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 blah. But now, if you want to learn how to sing the national anthem, you should find somebody who's improvising and who's in that genre and is going. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn early light? Well, and again, it could be a folk singer. Oh, say, can you see? Hey, sorry, I put in some Frank Sinatra. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? So there's, yeah. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's awesome, actually. Yeah.
Listen, and here's another thing. This is great. I'm so glad I just remembered this. So many times when we're singing along with another singer, we don't hear their inflections because guess what? We're singing as a duet. So you should listen to the singer without singing too. Just listen, because I hear singers all the time. They miss riffs, they miss rhythms. They miss all kinds of things. They've sung the song 100,000 times with the original artist, and they've missed a whole bunch of stuff the original artist was doing. And so in order for them to actually learn what the original artist was doing, they have to shut up and just play it and listen. And I do that all the time in my coaching. I said, look, let's just listen to that phrase. You want to do exactly what Adele did. Let's just listen to Adele for a minute. Let's just listen to her sing and see how she inflected that. Because you didn't notice. When you learned the song and you were singing along with Adele, you didn't notice what Adele did because you couldn't hear her because you were singing too. And that helps a lot.
What drives me insane is I'll have an acapella up, the singer will listen, try to do it, and do nothing like what the person did. Say the person did a vibrato and they went up. And I have the person listen to this acapella doing this, and every time they won't do it, and I'll stop and say, okay, do you hear the vibrato? and they'll say, "What do you?" Even if they identify the vibrato, when they go to do it again, they simply do what they were doing previously. They never do the vibrato. We have to actually stop, and it's like I'm in preschool or something. We have to stop, and I have to actually go like this at this, and they know how to do vibrato, but for some reason they just don't do it in that section. Could that be just because of rote, or because they've been singing it the way they've been singing it forever?
Yeah, that's why ever since you met me, I've talked so much about preparation and pre-production, because once you build a habit, and then somebody asks you change that habit right now, the human brain doesn't work that way. It doesn't like that idea at all. I mean, some people are better at it than others, and you learn that by working with different people. But you really should try to make sure that the habits that they have before you start mastering their tracks are the habits you want are the habits you want to record.
Okay, Hallie, I got a question for you. Was that song that you were singing yours?
No, that was Paramore.
That was Paramore?
Yeah.
It shows you how much I get out and listen to the radio. And Brad, what's your contact website?
www.bradchapmanvocals.com. bradchapmanvocals.com.
Okay, Ben, are you getting ready to leave? You getting ready to abandon us, Ben?
Did you call me Bear?
Ben, Bear. Yeah, Teddy Bear. Yes, Teddy Bear.
Yeah, I got a gig, man. I gotta scoot, but man, I love the session, man. Brad, thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
You're welcome. I've heard a lot of good things about that Artist Way book too that you mentioned, Ben.
Oh, it's a must-do for artists, man. If they're blocked and can't, I send them there first.
The Artist Way. It is a book.
It is.
Okay, and
I just want to touch. Ben recommended me that book, and I was in like literally a 3-month spell of I couldn't compose anything right, and he gave me recommended that book, and they have a thing called the morning pages, and I started doing this morning pages, and it's completely changed my entire perspective about everything, even outside of music. That book is amazing, amazing.
All right, I'm gonna buy that book based on y'all's recommendations, and
I'm writing it down too.
And Sadians have not let me down yet, so I'm going to get that book. Who else had a question for Brad? Wait, Ben, you got to go, right?
Haley.
Go ahead.
Haley, can you hear me?
Oh, well.
Hallie.
Hallie.
I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. Hallie.
Yeah.
Go scout out at the community college. Go try to find a young little sound engineer. And if you financially, if it's hard for you, just have this kid, just help him make a come up and be your guy. Tell him exactly how you want it, and have him, even if he doesn't mix your first shows, bring him along to your gigs with the house engineer, the hack, and have him learn. And that'll be your secret weapon, I think. Really.
Bring him on here too, Hallie.
All right. Well, I actually scouted my local community college and another one too, and it was complete and utter failure, so I'm going to Musicians Institute. That's what I can find there.
Find a youngin', man. Find a youngin'.
Yeah.
Speak to Dave Isaac at the Musicians Institute.
Yeah, Dave is a real cool cat.
Yeah, have him recommend you somebody. He's no joke.
Yeah, I know. I went to one of his sessions before. I sat in on his class, and he used me as a demonstration as well, and it's interesting.
Awesome.
Very interesting.
Okay.
I wish somebody would use me as a demo, man. Hey, have a good day, you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Really enjoyed your input.
Thank you so much. You too, Brad. Wonderful.
The stuff you're saying, Brad, that takes patience, because even when, Hallie knows that you bring something to the table, and when she came to you, you had her uncomfortable or whatever. I forget how she said it. So she was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? To deal with an artist or somebody questioning that much, and if you do it all the time, you have to have patience, because I just had to do that with an artist. I'm light years ahead on the engineering stuff, and she was complaining that every time she gets with an engineer, things change, and I told her, actually, that's good. You're gaining experience, unless you have your own dude who's doing it for you. But every move that I made, she was wanting to stop the session and ask why, which I didn't. I made time to do it, but normally you don't have time to sit there and explain everything in a session. But I made my session a training session, and we spent quite a few hours more than we were supposed to in there. And I ate it, I ate it so that she could learn and grow and experience me. But it really takes experience. I listened to you respond to Hallie and respond to people, and you actually have a calm demeanor, much better than bro. I don't have it. I try, but
when I tried teaching guitar, I did not have a calm demeanor. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that the singer knows that they're here to learn from me has something to do with it. But your situation is quite different because you're not a teacher. You're not a coach. You're a producer. I mean, that puts you that tears at you. I mean, you've got all these other things that you've got to be thinking about, and how are you going to get this done, and how are you going to do that done. You've got to multitask. Some people say, well, why don't you be a producer, Brad? No, thank you. You guys, man, I hats off to you, man. You guys, it's an incredible thing you do. What I do is, in my mind, what I do is very, very simple compared to what you guys do.
I stop and teach because the results from it pay off big time, but the legwork is like ugh. And then if that person doesn't continue, like if they're not serious to where they continue and I put all that work in, I'm ready to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help everyone, Matt. That's the thing. Like, there's a difference between someone asking questions because they're arrogant and they don't want to deal with it, or if they truly are inquisitive and they want to understand the method, and like when I first started working with Brad, I understood that this is a rare opportunity of a lifetime to be able to work with someone like Brad. And so I came in as a student, I didn't come in as leave the ego on the stage. It doesn't belong here. And it's you have to explain to the artist if they don't get that, you need to tell them, like, this is what I need from you. Okay, what do you need from me? It's a two-way street. So if I have questions for Brad, he'll answer it. Or if I see he's like, in the zone working with me, I'll wait and I'll ask afterwards. Because sometimes I don't need to know. I don't need to know all the time. But there are times when I should know, and he's aware of what I need. So, it's always communication. And if you're super frustrated working with someone, then maybe take a step back and say, look, I'll answer your questions like after, but you're working with me. I'm working with you, so you need to trust me.
Yeah, Khalik mentioned that.
Huh?
Khalik mentioned that it's really important to get the artist's trust.
Yeah, it really is.
The moment of trust that I've seen comes when the results come in.
Yeah.
That does it. But even then, for some people, like the stuff I suggest is like Ghost might walk in, or Joseph might walk in and do the standard good, solid, this is how stuff is done, something that they're used to, and then I walk in, and it's a total contrast. Some of the stuff I do is just outlandish to people. Like I had a singer, I refused to let them sing directly into the mic. I turned the mic like this and had the pop filter here so that their air was not hitting that mic, the S's were not directly at the mic, and there's a whole bunch of stuff where I could go into some scientific whatever with them about directionality of frequencies and all types of stuff. But the bottom line was they fought me for about 30 minutes and I refused to budge. I said, you know what, I'm not budging. I know what I'm talking about. You're going to have to learn to trust me. You're just going to have to do this. And I mean, they went to somebody that they thought was in charge of me, and which, I'm sitting there laughing. He's like, I can't tell mine to do nothing. And so eventually they submitted. They did it. And when they walked out of the booth, what they said was, see, this is how it sounds when I do it. See, and what? Oh, I'm cool.
I hope they paid you really, really well, because to deal with that kind of attitude, no.
That 30 minutes is on me. I was going to, because I knew, I paid for that 30 minutes, but I knew that I was going to have to deal with that artist, or that I wanted, and my group wanted to deal with that artist over an extended period of time. So there's a couple of things that I needed in place. If I suggest doing something, just roll with me and do it. Don't, when we're in action, just go. There's a trust factor there. So I need that from them, and then I needed them to learn. Because if they learn and they grow, the more they bring to the table, the better we can take care of on the front end, the less we have to do later. I don't have to do a whole, spend 5 hours doing stuff if they simply do this. And so I'm not going to let that person make me spend this extra 5 hours. If we could just stop and do something, they learn, and everything's better from then on. It was, I was just bogarting, like, nope, we're going to stop. You're going to learn, whether you like it or not. It's like your dad. I'll give you a whooping. I'm going to make sure that you learn how to do this, and then we go along. And I'm the only person here who does that, and they love letting me handle the do that stuff instead of them having to confront. So we get to play this good cop, bad cop. So, like, if Brad is in the studio, Brad is such a nice, warm, dude who gets results, and then I come in with this craziness, and then even Khalik is joining us. Khalik has this demeanor that it's so different than mine. If we were in the studio and he allows me to be my crazy self, and he's an expert at what he does, then after I beat you up or whatever I do, Khalik, he'll get you on track, but he has such this nice demeanor to where it's like, it just works out. It's like, oh, okay. Khalik can come and say, well, I need you to drink this poison orange juice, and it's going to make you better. And it works out. They'll, because he has that demeanor, him and Brad both. Whereas I come in and play the bad cop naturally. And when you got that going, it works out pretty good. Welcome, Khalik.
Yeah.
Always talking bad about you. Look at me.
What's up?
Uh-oh,
Long
Khalik,
time
we don't hear
no
you, bro.
see.
We see you, but we don't hear you, and we can tell that you hear us because you're laughing about it.
Yeah.
And
your ears must have been burning, dude.
We got you now. You're low, but we got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Very low. You're very low.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I got the mic down. Can you hear? Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sporting some new glasses, I see.
Hey, can't get rid of them now.
Yeah, bro, actually, I need to get me some. It's getting bad. My age kicking in. So, what's happening, Khalik? Have you been watching, Khalik?
I just got on, got a break, and I remembered you guys were doing it today, so I was like, let me take a break and join y'all for a little bit.
So you haven't heard what we were just talking
Yeah,
about?
I gotta go. I have my gig in a couple hours, so I need to go do my sound check.
So you're too big to sit here and kick it with us, huh?
Wait, hold on.
It's cool.
No, brother, it's exactly the opposite. I'm a working man. I can't afford to chill like y'all got it like that. I got to work, be in the trenches.
No, I was talking about Hallie. Hallie says that she has to go. She has a gig to get to.
Oh, Hallie.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to be hanging with you then.
Where are you performing at, Hallie?
I'm performing at this outdoor festival in Long Beach. It's called Color Me Long Beach. I'm going to be doing a feature, and afterwards I'll also be doing a workshop on songwriting.
You're going to be doing a workshop on songwriting?
Yeah, like a quick 15, 20-minute workshop.
That's today?
Yeah.
Ah. Okay, I was going to say, all right, I'll try to make it down there for that, but no, I won't be making it today. It's 4 hours away, and I got,
Yeah, I figured, but it's all good.
Come show up for you.
It's all good. I will figure out a way to post, or can you type it in, Brad? My Facebook page. I update all my stuff on there. It's facebook.com. Almost there.
Nope. I don't like this keyboard. Okay,
Facebook.com/pure Pure
P-U-R-E
Halle Halle. Yeah. And I update all my gigs and shows on there, and you can check it out, and hopefully you guys can make it down there, and the sound will be phenomenal.
Do not be surprised if me or my team comes to one of your gigs, surprises you at a gig. Do not be surprised.
I won't be surprised. I invite it. I would love to see you there. It'd be cool.
Oh no, we sneak up on people. We just.
Oh really? Is that bad?
We just showed up. Yeah.
Oh man, don't give me enough time to get a fruit basket for you. That's fine.
So all right,
Yeah,
Hallie.
I gotta take off.
Thank you, Hallie, for what you did. Thank you for being a guinea pig.
Yeah, that was a scary guinea pig. I don't really want to do that again.
Oh, you did great. We appreciate your insight.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't have
I wish
to.
I got a clap for every time I sounded terrible. Jeez.
I would have done it, but I figured you guys think I was just faking it, you know.
But all right, bye guys.
Bye-bye.
See you later. See you
Bye.
Bye.
Kalik, we've been talking about, one of the things we've been talking about is in-ear monitoring.
Thank you.
What is there anything you can speak of real? Yeah, is there anything you can speak of real quick on in-ear monitoring? Just anything.
Not really, because I mean, for live, I've done a few of them, but I don't have a lot of experience with dealing with that. I know it was kind of a pain for me to get it all going, but it's so prevalent now that I'm sure people have gotten the process down. I wasn't used to it, so I don't really have a whole heck of a lot of experience dealing with them, you know.
He was talking. Brad was talking about $60,000 for some in-ear monitoring back in the day. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can see it. Well, you know, when I was like out on the road with Kenny Lattimore, he had some custom-made in-ear monitors, and he paid a pretty good amount for them. In fact, I think Dave had the molds made for him. I can't remember what it was, but I was staggered because I thought I was going to get some for me so that I could have the same thing that he had, just custom fitted for my ear. When I heard the price, I got sticker shock. I was like, oh, okay, I'll pass. I'll just use headphones.
I just watched videos this morning about I was watching people create the molds, and then they would send it off to the company.
Right.
It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, it was funny too because I did. They had like the company at the NAMM show one year. It was a few years back, maybe about 8-10 years back. But they were giving free molds and free hearing tests and all that, and tell you exactly where you were. And I was surprised because I tested my hearing, and I still did pretty good. I think I was like the third highest out of that whole day. Even as old as I'm getting, I hadn't lost a whole lot of my high end, but my right ear lost a little bit more. But I was still getting up there pretty good. I was hearing frequencies pretty high and through the whole range. So I'm glad that I didn't damage my hearing because I used to blast it when I was younger, but I learned quick enough to not do damage.
Okay, Brad and Kalik, do either of you have any seminars coming up where people could pay or whatever and come to? Either one of you?
Well, you know, I got mine coming up. I'm glad you asked. And the Music Mixing Success Boot Camp is coming up. And guess what, Mott? I'm gonna be doing it at the spot over there where Dave has been working, right across from the bakery and all that. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna do it. Yeah, so that's gonna be sweet, man.
That's actually a cool little spot he hooked up over there.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be good. So I just talked with him today, and I'm gonna be talking with them some more next week to solidify it. You know, because I wanted to go back to that experience like that we had previously, when it was a little more intimate. You know, so I'm only planning on it holding maybe about 20 people. You know, so. And then the rest of it, I'm going to be streaming live via the internet because a lot of people on my list said, Kalik, we'll attend anything, but we just can't travel. We can't fly in and hotel and all that. It gets too expensive. So I was like, you know what, this year I'm going to make it where people can, attend via the internet. I got to do a lot of logistics, a lot of testing and all that to make it happen. But I think it's about to go down pretty good, man. It should be really cool. So I definitely want you there in the live audience, though. And you're still going to, you already said you were going to do a presentation there, right? So you're still down, right?
I would love to do a presentation. Hey, Brad, please tell me you're going to be at this or be a part of this, I should say.
Yeah. Brad said he was going to.
If he'll ask me to, yeah. I'd love to be there.
Yeah, you're here. Where are you at? Where are you located, Brad?
West Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, you definitely got to be part of this, man. For sure.
I love it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Just, we'll
talk further because we got about a month. and I'm starting to put the slots and the scheduling together. But I got a slot for you, man. You two guys definitely got to be part of it.
Well, no, I can't do one with Matt. No, if Matt's there, he'll take all my attention.
I'm just a troublemaker, you know.
Hey, guess what? We got Joseph too. I'm gonna find a way to slip Joseph in. He's not gonna be there with us physically, but you know, I may get him to do, you know, a little video tip for us or some kind of way. I'm working it all out, but it's gonna be actually pretty darn cool.
Everything's an EQ.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
everything is an EQ.
I'll just say or do something crazy. Everybody will get excited, get tuned in, and then Kalik will go to work. You'll go to work. You know, show them the real thing.
It's going to be, man. I'm excited, and I'm excited to have you guys here. We'll get a nice intimate thing where everybody can feel like they're part of it, but we're going to have a worldwide audience. That's what's going to be really cool. And it should be really, I mean, I'm just looking forward to it, man. So, yeah, get your skills ready and dust it off, and get your crew ready to come down wherever we need to come down, and we're gonna make it real nice.
Any help? When either of you guys are throwing, real quick, when either of you guys are throwing these seminars, if you need any bodies, like physical labor, whatever, just say the word. We're only a car drive away. It's like 4 hours. I'll throw everybody in my vehicle, or if we have to get 2 vehicles, whatever, and we'll come down and we'll help you guys. I'll get some bodies in to help you guys.
Cool. Very good, man. Very good. Yeah, I'm working it out. I can't wait now. So.
What's that, Brad?
So, is that a situation where you could do, like we were talking last weekend about you doing some kind of a live vocal production?
Live vocal production. You know what? That'd be very cool. We could get right in there and do it live on the whole thing and broadcast it to the world. Okay. Brad, it sounds good. Let's do it as a combination of you know, the coaching, but also teaching people about engineering and all that, so we can get into, you know, the mics and the angles, working the mic, combination of all that is part of the whole vocal production process. Doing it live, I think, would be good, my friend. That'd be really cool.
Really fun.
Yeah.
That's where we actually wake up, because sometimes we'll fall asleep at some things, and when it's live and there can be a car crash, there's no falling asleep. We're on the edge.
Yeah. So that'd be real cool. So I'm gonna start getting it together. I'm gonna start getting all the marketing stuff to make sure that we got a lot of people in. You know, basically Bob Brockman said he was gonna be a part of it, so I'm worked that out to get him to be able to pipe him into the system so he can chime in from New York. Bill, we're gonna have there, and you know, a few other people. I had talked to Bob Power and a couple, because I want to try to spread it out and get a lot of different folks from different parts of the country to participate, you know.
And Brad, are you going to do anything like that where you're hosting a seminar or something?
No, I appreciate you asking me, but no, I usually don't do those.
Okay, all right.
I love my one-on-one work.
We're going to make you part of ours, though, bro. You got drafted.
No, that's cool. You won't have to drag me there. It's just I don't like to usually put them on myself. That's all.
We'll try to get you to do a one-on-one with somebody at Kalik's then. How about that?
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, that's how it really works, you know. And it's just like you know, Kalik. That's why we said to Kalik last week, you know, almost a petition started up. I said, wouldn't it be cool, you know, if we got to see Kalik, you know, producing a vocal, and then other guys were going, yeah, that'd be cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, because that is a one-on-one thing, and it's much more practical application. I think you learn a lot more than you do in theory, you know, or trying to do it with, or just trying to give a lecture on it, you know.
Absolutely, and people can watch over your shoulders, have a way where people can submit some real-time questions and stuff like that. It'd be real cool. Yeah. So I'm down. I'll probably be as we get closer and I get the logistics worked out too. I'll probably do some practice runs to maybe see how we can get in. So I might call on you guys to get in.
Okay.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You know, that practice run can, you know, preparation.
Yes.
See, now with James, Joseph, Ghost, you guys, whatever it takes, man.
Yeah.
Trust me, this is stuff you'd want to participate in. When Kalik does a seminar, he brings his guest speakers, he brings several. And then when my experience in them has been they would come speak, talk to us live, and then they'd sit in the audience with us. And so you're sitting next to this awesome person with whatever credits or whatever experience they have, and you're able to actually kick it with them, talk to them. When we go on breaks, you're sitting there chit-chatting with them. Bruh, guys, it's awesome. It's worth it.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. What's up, Ghost? It's good to see you on here, man.
How are you doing, Mr. Khalik?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Feeling good,
Hey, I like that chair you're sitting in. You're either sitting in a $1 million RV or you're sitting in a really cool studio somewhere.
Well, it's just my little spot here. I get it in here. I'm coming in and trying to be comfortable, join and hang out with the cool people.
It's like, I don't even know if there's cool people here. We're nerds. We like music.
Yeah. Trying to get used to wearing glasses now. I have to do it. It's so funny.
The issue of singers being serious and spending money came up. What do you guys think singers should spend money on? Like have their own microphone, or if they can, in-ear monitors, whatever. Like, what are things that you guys think that a singer should spend money on if they're actually serious?
A vocal pre-producer.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, that's one. Vocal pre-producer, right. Right. Okay, what else?
You'll get your commission check later. Thank you.
Yeah, a microphone. I think a microphone is a really good investment for a singer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. I mean, not just when you think of, it's their own personal mic, they get to pick out what's good, and especially stage mics, in my opinion, the M20, $200. Sennheiser makes some great. They're E series, E965 or something like that. I mean, they're all under $200, and there's some really nice dynamic mics out there. As far as like a stage mic goes, and when you think of the amount of just the sanitary reasons involved, I definitely wouldn't want to be pressing my lips up against a one of those little foam things and it be all soggy. That would be you know what I mean? Right.
Okay, so hint to all studios: wash your pop filter.
Yeah, that's the thing right there.
Get the funk and spit and all of that out. Including the microphone. Well, I forget what exactly it's called. Like Brad has that microphone that has that foam filter over it. What's it called?
It's a pop filter.
They're all called pop filters.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I bought a box of them on eBay, for about 20 cents a piece. I got 50 of them.
A singer, I was looking at a singer's face when they went up to this pop filter, and I couldn't get them to get close to the pop filter. And I went in the booth and had a talk with them, and that's what it was. Somebody had alligator breath or whatever, and was a smoker and was on that pop filter. And I had to actually take the pop filter off, wash it. It was a metal pop filter. I think it was metal. I know I've done that to metal, but I had to wash the pop filter. And then they were like, "Oh God, this is so much better. Thank you." that little thing. So, what else? So microphone, maybe mic pre, because I'm now picturing a singer walking in, and whatever mics we have, a singer walks in with a quality mic or a mic that works for them, and a pre that they've actually spent a little bit of money on. I would be impressed. Me personally, I would be impressed and take that. That would automatically make me. We talk about changing the singer's attitude or making it comfortable for the singer or whatever. That would impress me to where I'd be like, whoa, okay. I'd even give that singer a little extra whatever just because they cared about themselves enough like that. So what else do you guys think a singer should spend money on if they're serious?
Well, I'll say one thing. From my point of view, I think that I'll tell you one thing that impressed me early on when I was first working with Donna Summer. She came to the studio, and we had already pre-set up some things and everything. She came to the studio. She's like, "Oh no, I want a AKG 414. 414 sounds best on my voice." She knew exactly what was up. and she didn't care about the preamps and all that. Although we were in the studio was a Neve console, so and we basically for her just went through the console. It sounded great anyway. But she knew that after having sang on all the best mics and everything, a 414 is what worked for her voice. So I think that's more impressive to actually know that or know alternatives and everything, which she also knew if the 414 wasn't available, she could tell you a different model, because what she used to do is come in, and she said she would come in and just ask the engineers, when she heard a sound that she liked, was her voice being recorded, what is that? What did you use on me? What kind of mic is that? What else are you doing to it or whatever? And she'd write it down and carry it and then commit it to memory. To me, that's probably the best investment, more so than even buying something, because, a lot of people can't afford to buy the stuff. And if you're not, unless you're working all the time where you got your own facility, it isn't even always practical to carry your own thing around all the time. Well, I'd say buying your own mic is always going to be a good investment if you're a singer, and carry your own mic. It's your sound. It has your stank breath in the pop filter, so you can be okay with it. And so it's no problem if you got that and carry that around. But if you don't have that option or don't have enough money, the investment is the research, knowing when you heard something and it all worked, it sounded great on your voice, and the engineer didn't have to do a lot. They just put the right stuff on. You should write it down, know the chain that was on there, not just the mic, but what kind of preamp were they using. Are you doing anything special on it? That'll tell you if they're using compression, EQ. Did you have to EQ it a lot to get my voice to sound like that? Or no, it's just the mic sound. Or yeah, I had to do a lot. Then if they had to do a lot, then it's like, okay, well, maybe it's more than the microphone. It's something else that's making me sound right. So maybe I should be looking more at, well, what are you going through? You're doing some EQing, and that's really making all the difference. Can I hear it in and out? Can you take it off of my voice for a second? Let me see what it sounds like without it. Just ask some questions. A lot of singers don't ask any questions. They just come in and sing. But that's one of the best things you can do to educate yourself for your own sound.
Yeah, and they could go to a place like Guitar Center and just have demo a bunch of mics and stuff.
Yep.
Awesome. Anybody else?
They like. Well, obviously, I'm going to go with the in-ear monitors for live.
But that's like a guitarist, he's got his favorite acts. He knows what tones come out of those things.
Hello.
And so, the microphone is kind of like a singer's axe, I would think. And you first get in there. I mean, I've been in the studio probably 10 times, and I'm just now finding out enough to know what questions to ask. Like, how'd you do that? How'd you put that compression on my harmonica to get it to honk a little better than what I usually do? I know what mics that I use, whether it be dynamic, and it depends on the situation too. Whether I'm singing a ballad or if I'm singing pop, I might want a different microphone for those two different genres of music.
Yep.
I talk to them all the time. The singers are very lazy about equipment, though. It's a funny thing.
That was a really good comment, Cleek, I think, on the, just asking what the vocal chain is. And if they can't commit it to memory, they can at least write it down and have that with them when they go to a different studio or any studio, Because that gives an engineer a reference point, even if they don't have those same products. It'll give them, give the engineer a reference point on something that maybe he has that alternative that he can, appease the artist with.
I would like them to buy their own apples. I'm tired of buying apples. But I give my guys an apple, and it works beautifully. It cuts out 80% of the S's. There's something about the pectin inside of there. And I got it from a guy who does a lot of stage production, and they give those guys apples. They're doing Broadway and stuff. They eat an apple, and it takes the S's away. So I give it to guys before they go in the booth. It's amazing.
That's good.
I'm going to try that.
Green apple.
Green one.
Green apple. I'm going to try that. I'm going to get back to you.
Anti-cough.
All right.
Another good thing is pineapple juice. It
Really?
is great for moisturizing, keeping your vocal cords moisturized. That's a little secret weapon that a lot of people don't know about.
Pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice and green apples. Yeah, we're making a cocktail. All right. All right.
That come from Indianapolis by any chance?
What was
What's
that?
Did that green apple thing come from Indianapolis?
I'm not
Think
sure.
they grow green apples in Indianapolis?
It's a song joke, man.
Oh, I'm real young, you know. I'm real
Little
young.
green apples in Indianapolis.
Say
In
it
the
went right
summertime, right? Yeah,
Summertime, yeah.
yeah. That was a pretty crappy joke, right? You know, I'm not a comedian, man. I'm a geek, right?
You're funnier than me, though, man. So you're doing good.
Funny looking, Gleek. I'll give you that.
Well, we're
much.
all laughing, so what
Yeah.
can you say? What can you say to that?
Very good hangout, guys. I do have to fly. I have a smoothie date with my wife, and I'm about 10 minutes late. So I'm going to have to say thank you very much, Mahat, for inviting me. Brad, again, as usual, it was good. Nice to meet you, Ghost. Jimmy, take it easy. And Kalik, I will see you on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. I got some news to share with you about October 5th. With
cool.
an acoustician that's wants to come on the show. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Dennis Foley. Yes, he's
Yeah.
good for it. He wants to do a segment, you know.
All right. That's
on
gonna
the
be
5th.
good.
Where are you guys going to be?
Well, just
At Cleek's Hangout. Yes, October 5th, Sunday.
on
Cleek's Hangout.
next
right.
Sunday.
Yes. Dennis Foley will be joining with some question and answers about common acoustic problems that can be solved, and maybe he'll debunk some of those acoustic myths that float around, like bookshelves for diffusers and other things that we sometimes come across. So, hey, if anybody knows any good myths, like any weird, like using pillows, or go ahead and send them to josephbaffy@gmail.com. I'm trying to, get a list going so I can send it to Dennis so he can come up with some creative answers for us.
Cool.
Did that come through clear enough?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right, you guys take it easy. I'm out.
Yeah, I got to run too. I got to get back and do a couple of things. So I will catch you guys later. Anybody that can make it to the hangout tomorrow, look forward to seeing you there. And
send me an invite.
Yeah, I'll try. If
I
I get a
definitely will.
cancellation, I'll be there.
Definitely will then.
He posts the invite in Pensado Students, you guys. It's
Okay.
Every time he does it, it's in Pensado Students. All you got to do is just watch the group.
Yeah. Go to the group. On Sunday it's usually at noon, and on Thursdays it's usually at 6 p.m. Just go to the group, and usually I will post it there, or if I don't, Bill or Mod or somebody will usually post a link where you can join us.
And add him on Gmail.
Yeah.
Add him to your circle on Gmail.
Okay. Thank you for your valuable time.
Cool. James, are you already on? Do you already get my invitations? Are you already a part of in my circles to get my invitations when I send them?
I don't think so. I think I get it through Matt. Actually, I'm on Mix and Success, and I'm doing that right now, and I need to add you into my circles. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, you did add me into the circles. Okay. Yeah, I'll add you in. Or what's your last name so I can search for you in G+?
Pray, P-R-A-Y.
Say that again.
It's Pray, P-R-A-Y.
Pray as in we pray to the holy whatever.
Yeah.
Put it
they
in
called
the
me lettuce when I was
chat
young.
box on the side for me. Put it in the chat box on the side for me, just so I can copy and paste it to be sure there ain't no typos or nothing.
And James, if you guys add Kalik, he'll see a message where he can add you back too, if there's any problem.
And Ghost, I got you in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So get you in there.
Now we're late into this episode, so just to let you guys know, I have a hangout coming up in. See, people are gonna have to watch this episode to see this, right? If I didn't private message them, I have a hangout coming up with Bob Horn.
When is that?
Soon coming up, huh?
When?
Bob Horn's going to be Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. I'm about to do an event, if not later today, tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week, I have hangouts. It's like bam, bam, bam. We're knocking out a bunch before AES comes.
Right.
We're just like slam before AES comes, and then we're going to do stuff for AES. And Russ Hogarth. I've got one coming up with Russ Hogarth. You know what? I'm not even gonna say all of them. The only one I'm gonna say next is after AES. We're supposed to have one coming up with Dylan Dresdow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And like I say, there's some goodies coming up real soon. You guys are gonna see these posts. You guys, you're all welcome to join. You just hop on in, hit them with questions. But I'll be posting stuff. And then Kalik, are you going to AES?
Yes.
See, yeah, we'll be hitting you guys with pictures and whatever from AES and whatever. We'll see what we can do for AES to get whoever's not there involved. And Brad, you're not going to AES, right?
Well, I don't know. It's next weekend.
I think it's 2 weeks from now. What is it, Kalik?
2 weeks. If I get this operation done in time and the pain is gone, I'll be there. If not, then unfortunately I won't be able to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, James, I got you in here now. You're in my circles for the hangout, so we should be all good.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, let me just double check and be sure I got you in here, Ghost. I think you are in here, but let me be 100% sure.
And one of the good things about the hangouts, I think I was telling Jason Schweitzer, which going to have another hangout with him also. I'm just giving it all away. I want to surprise you guys with some of this, but one of the things we talked about was these hangouts are great ways for people to meet each other, because Kalik and them have talked about back in the day where a bunch of people would be in the same building and they could have coffee breaks, or you can go from Studio A to Studio B and mingle. Well, people can mingle on this. So like you'll see Kalik coming into the hangouts I set up, and there'll be people there that he may have not met, or some he actually has a history with. We have a family reunion going on, but
yeah,
mingle, and next thing you know, who knows what'll happen? Like Brad participating on Kalik's stuff, awesome, stuff like that. So that's like, as I grab these people, Brad, Kalik, don't hesitate to come in and meet these people, and at least pay a visit, meet them. And who knows? Who knows? We're trying to compensate.
You are my PR man, Matt. You are my PR man.
I'm trying, bro. We've got to get something going, because like with, okay, you and Kalik, you've put your time in, and then you got to go and learn all this stuff. Like, yes, I'm trying to help. Because you guys got to work and do whatever you have to do, and then you got to turn and do. Nah, I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. I'm actually doing a conscious effort to be useful, to be helpful to people.
It's great though, man, and it takes a village, like they said. So we're doing what we got to do. All right, guys, I'm out of here too, and I will see you guys. Whoever comes on tomorrow, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. And
what time tomorrow? Click. Let them know what time tomorrow.
The normal time, noon Pacific time, 12 noon Pacific. Catch you guys. Just take a look in the Pensado students area, and the link will post up around that time. Catch you guys later. All right, bye.
See you later, Kalik. Anybody else have any questions for? I forgot his name.
For anybody?
Anybody have any questions for Brad?
I told you, you're always overshadowing me, Ma.
I'm sorry, bro. I talk a lot and I get animated. I get animated. I'm into this.
Me too. I'm glad. I love it.
Hey, I got a question off the subject.
Go ahead.
For Brad. Brad, what did it feel like when you got your first platinum record credit?
Oh, that's cool.
Because I'm looking at it and I just had.
Yeah, well, and it's it's a big ego thing, but you know what? I'm being kind of a practical business type person. At the same time, I thought, you know, what's really nice about this is, you know, if anybody ever wants to know whether they can trust me or not, all they got to do is look at it. When Hollywood Insider magazine interviewed me, they saw, you know, they asked me for pictures and stuff, so I sent them, you know, a collage of the platinum records, and he said, well, you know, how do we know if those are real? And it's true, you know, you can just buy one, but there's one thing you cannot have. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's an RIAA sticker, and if you don't have that, it's not real. And that means that the record company, you know, allowed you to have that. And so I mostly like it for people to see it so that they can trust that what I've been doing in my life works. That it's not just theories and it's not just beliefs. It's not just my opinion. You know, I'm not just a socialite out there, you know, just trying to convince people of whatever. That what I've done actually works. And I think that's the nice thing about, you know, any kind of a trophy or degree or anything like that. Just any kind of hard evidence that what you do works. So that's what I enjoy most about it. But yeah, when I pulled it out of the package, it was pretty cool. Thank you for asking.
But did your wife say, okay, honey, you're for real now? Like what else, like what came with that?
I wish.
He's pretty awesome, bro.
I haven't gotten my platinum pornography one yet. I need to get. Then when she sees that.
Okay. Yeah.
TMI, boy.
I hope we're not getting our.
That's something I would expect to come from me saying something like that. I'm like,
okay. Well, you led me there. What can I tell
you? Now, do people? Is that a norm that people actually, when they walk in there, they actually question whether or not you really got those?
No.
Okay.
No, that was unusual. That magazine, you know, he said, you know, I was impressed with him. He says because, you know, we don't want anything putting out there that's a lie.
Good.
You know, and so I was impressed with that. But I guess it's more of a personal thing. A lot of people will just accept, you know, if somebody has a reputation, they'll just accept that they're good. But one of the things I've learned by being in the music industry for so long, that reputation does not necessarily. There's two things that does not absolutely mean they're good. One is how much they cost, you know, for what they charge, because a lot of that has to do with who their clientele is and what their budgets are. Like if I'd have grown up in Beverly Hills, I would always have charged a lot more money, because the people who knew who I was and who came to me and who saw me would think nothing of paying me whatever I asked. So that would not necessarily mean I was any good. And then on reputation, unfortunately, that can be, you know, through networking and just schmoozing people, you can build a reputation, and it still doesn't mean you're any good. But you can't get a platinum record if your work on the record didn't make it better. You can't get that.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think people question enough. I think they should question a lot more, frankly. So Ghost, what are you a studio owner? Or I see you on Pensado all the time.
No, well, I just actually got promoted to head engineer yesterday. But
congratulations, man.
Bro.
Thank you. So I'm a engineer in a small studio. It's we're a two-man operation. We record most of the good local artists around. And
what town are you in?
What's that?
What town are you in?
Sacramento.
Oh, okay, great.
It's a tough town. It's hard on music because it's not cool to like music in Sacramento. It's one of those towns, but no. So I've been doing this 4 years now. So this is 4 years now that I've been doing this, and I don't own the studio, but I run it like I do.
Great.
So, but I'm just fascinated with music, and I love everything.
I sure learn a lot from you guys.
What's that?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Oh, I was saying.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't let you finish. Roger and out.
I said no. I just love everything about music, and I'm just constantly trying to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, and I'm just loving it. I try to. I got a little excited when I got my Pensado Award because I didn't feel like I deserved it. I didn't know why I got it, to be honest with you, because I just feel like there's better people than me. But I just love music so much, and it was nice because it was nice to have Dave Pensado told me before the award show. He said, "Hey, we contacted a lot of people from your city and asked them a lot of questions, and a lot of people are saying nice things about you." So that made me feel pretty good. Because you always wonder what clients are thinking about you, and I'm kind of like Mott. I run a tight ship. I kind of don't pull any punches with people. I'll tell them, hey, that's not him. Like, we should just close the session now, and you should go home and get it ready and come back when you are ready. So I wasn't sure how people were receiving me, and it was really rewarding for me to get that. And I like going on the Pensado Students Forum because I do like to help people out. I don't know. I didn't get a lot of help when I was learning this. People don't want to help people too much. That's why I'm so fascinated with the hangouts that you guys are doing. If people don't want to help people, it's really weird. It's strange.
Yeah.
People don't want to, like, you ask people when I was first starting, like, hey, what kind of compression settings are you using? And it was almost like people wouldn't want to tell you things and I would just tell them, what do you think, I'm going to steal all your clients? Like, you're going to tell me your trick and I'm just going to steal all your clients. This is awesome. I love this. This is what I think everything should be about, is just mentoring, each one teach one. So that's kind of building bridges over borders and the whole weird stuff.
Well, it's sure been great for me. I've never had a lot of even on some of these records that I have here, I never even met the producer. Worked strictly with the singer, and I didn't get to learn a lot of things I would have liked to have learned. So through these hangouts, I get to learn a lot about you guys that is kind of tough to do any other way. I can't go running around the studios all week long plus have a living, So get a lot of information in a very short period of time, and just the questions you guys ask me teaches me a lot of stuff. If my clients aren't appreciating it, they're nuts, because they're getting information through me that they can't get it anywhere else. It's very, very exciting.
I never even looked at music consciously from an emotional standpoint until you and I had met each other through Facebook, and you had told me, hey, this is who I am, what I do. I started looking at your stuff and following the hangouts, and ever since that day, my clients they've actually improved, because I've been able to convey things to them beyond what I like, and leave all that at home and just say, hey, folks, what are we trying to make people feel? Do we want people to cry? Do we want people to feel happy, sad? And it's really helped me a lot. Just these hangouts have taken me to the next level.
Touchdown.
Yeah, they've taken me to the next level. Just no doubt about it. Even the owner who was teaching me things, I would be telling him stuff because I'm doing these hangouts, and he'd be like, man, where are you getting all this information from? I'd be like, hey, I'm just networking with guys and talking to guys, and they're dropping nuggets on me. And he's just like, what? He's like, are you kidding? And he's trying stuff out. He's like, I've been doing this since '91, man, and you've been doing this 4 years, and you're telling me stuff now? I'm like, no, man, I'm just relaying information. And so now he's like, what is this Pensado's group that you're doing? And so now he's watching it, and he's like, wow, there's people dropping gold mines in there. It's like, I don't know.
Well, Mahat's head is so big right now, it's covering up the whole screen.
No, here as I've been, like, me coming up, it was crazy how nobody would help me. And but when we started getting industry people, like top-notch industry people into Pensado students, somebody would come in, and let's say, Ghost, you knew a truth where you did an experiment, or 30, knew what you were talking about. An industry person would say something different, which might actually work. And you would say, well, I also tried this, and people would say, Ghost, shut up. So-and-so's talking. You have no right to speak. And I would jump in and, with a F you type comment, response, and say, hold on. If truth is truth, if Ghost has done this experiment, let's go and see if what he says can be duplicated by us. And if it does, a person's credits, that's not what means something. It's the results we get. And so that was one of the things that took place. Took place before you got in, Ghost. And then the other thing is when these guys would come in, a lot of people who were top notch, they simply don't speak. So they were no use. We were like, maybe we're their magazine or something, but there was no use for them in the group. And so you would have all these mid-level, mid-tier, whatever, and lower people speaking. And my comments about it were this: okay, so if Ghost is over there putting in work, and James is over there putting in work, and Brad's over there putting in work, and we all come together and we make statements to each other and try out what each other says, collectively, we had, like, say, 7,000, 6,000, 5,000, whatever people. If a bunch of us got together and just started doing stuff, we would come up with the truth. We don't need somebody else to come in and tell us. We simply experiment. I do my addition until I come up with the right answer, then I share it and see if somebody else can repeat it. And so I personally didn't care if the top people came in. I needed people coming in. We have these discussions. You say something that I had I'd be like, what? For real? Hold on. Yeah, let me try that. And that's how we actually started getting better and better and better. So this stuff that we're doing, it has already proven. You have people saying, shut up, you guys are new or whatever. But this stuff is already proven. People have gotten jobs before the Google Hangouts from what goes on in Pensado students. People have gotten jobs and came in and said, thank you. It's like you see me bumping the old posts. There's old posts where people are coming in thanking Pensado students for what they've learned before the Hangouts, just us typing before the industry cats came in, where these guys have gotten jobs based on the stuff that we've said. And now we've got this, where you can come in and Brad is sitting here saying this stuff and we can question him, and like Ben threw the curveball earlier, and then I reacted to that. That was real stuff, and right or wrong, it's documented. If something is like unnerves somebody, they can go and research it, like what the hell is he talking about, and really dig in. This stuff helps out big time. So I'm learning. I mean, every one of us is learning. And watch these future guests I have coming on. They are glad to give. I can tell you Ross Hogarth has a funny bone, and he is glad to give. He is damn good at what he does, and he gives. Is just like Brad. Look at how Brad is giving. This is time out of this man's life, and it's to be appreciated. And what you're saying about going into your crew and that happening with you at the studio, bruh, yeah, that's what I've been talking about. I come in, I say stuff to my crew based on what Brad, Khalid, Dave Hampton, Dave Isaac, all these guys have said, and I get results. And this isn't me having to do what I was doing, which was, taking 20 years to learn something and then really knowing it, and then coming in and saying that these guys, we're all sharing this information, and amongst all of us, we have a pretty good piece of the puzzle. So, I mean, it's been working out for me big time. Yes, my head is big, and a part of it now is because of this stuff. I walk in knowing that I've got all this information from you guys, and if I have a question, if I run into an issue, I can get online with you guys and get some answers and come back and solve, have solutions for my crew. It's not just me standing alone, and that's powerful. I'm off my soapbox.
You know who's a good guy in the group is, so I was talking to Jesse Miller. You know Jesse Miller, right?
Absolutely.
I had no idea he was working with Michael Brower. And he had sent me a couple messages, and he had said, hey, I liked your little tutorial you did on the dual mono, the dual mono thing in Logic, and he wanted me to send him the session, and he sent me back something. He said, try this and this. And I was telling my buddy, and he's like, did you say Jesse Miller? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you mean Jesse Miller that works with Michael Brower? And I was like, I don't know. I guess he does. I went on there and looked, and I was like, oh, my God, this guy's the dude. Like, there's so many humble people in there that if you don't troll their Facebook, you would never know that these people are the people behind all the hits I've been hearing for the last 20 years. It's crazy. This is a great group.
Jesse,
I love it.
Unfortunately, a lot of them don't say much on their Facebook pages to tell you either.
No, Morris Mingo. Morris Mingo has been a Pensadian forever, and I had no idea that he was Bootsy Collins' music director. No clue. And I saw him. We were at an event, and all these people came up. DeAndre Bass, who just now agreed to do a hangout with me, he just popped up. He's going to do a hangout. So DeAndre walks up. I don't know who he is. He's a musician. I didn't know who he was, and he introduced himself. And I said, "What are you working on now?" And he said, "Anita Baker." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "What?" And then I said, I asked him. I said, "Bro, why is everybody?" I said, "Morris is not telling me. Why is everybody coming up saying, 'Hey, Morris, how does he know all these people?'" And he broke it down to me. I'm like, "Morris, you chump, you man." So there's a lot of people who just won't say a word. And like Morris may be an awesome musician, but when it's time to learn Pro Tools, he's new. And it's like that. You'll be excellent over here and new with this, experienced over here and new with that. And so we were all sharing. I had no clue. And there's a bunch of people like that in our group. Never say a word. No ego, none of that. It's awesome.
Well, let's keep it up. You know, and if you guys, if you guys know people who want to, Mott asked me to be a guest. That was my first experience at Hangout, and then I saw that Khalif was doing them on a regular basis. And I says, "Hey, I'm gonna do one on a regular basis too." So if you guys know some people who are willing to do that, I think that's great too.
Now we need to do a. I had said it over there in the chat, the little chat box. We need to do something on front of the house. We've done internships, we've done all kinds, but I've never done a front of the house one. And with this in-ear monitor stuff, huh?
What is the front of the house? What does that mean?
The guys who do the engineering at the live gigs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ben is one of those guys. But yeah, with the in-ear monitor stuff. Well, we could cover a lot with the front of the house stuff. Just there's stuff that we don't even mention when we're doing these that go with the front of the house stuff. So I'm gonna have to figure out who I can grab that's a front of the house engineer, somebody that engineers.
I think I can help you find some through Ultimate Ears. Because I'm gonna tell them that we did this so that they can watch it. Because I tried to get them to do this in a professional video, and they said, "Oh, no, it's not worth it." So I'm gonna talk to the guy and have him watch this, and then maybe we can get with what you just told me, maybe we can get some, because they do a lot of business with front of house people, a lot of business.
I have a two-part suggestion. One that I would like to see. I don't know if it's taboo, but a lot of guys like me, we get to a level where we feel like we're confident enough to work with some more serious professionals, with investors and stuff. I just don't know how to market to any of these people, and maybe a hangout would be good to talk to people and say, "Hey, how are you guys attracting these projects? How do you get these projects? How do you let labels know that you're a mix engineer or you're a tracking engineer and you can work and be compatible? How do you know that? How do you get those people to look at you?" And then the second part for the front of house guy is, a front of house guy got a Pensado award. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So he might be a guy for the hangout. I don't know. But yeah, how are you getting work? When you get to that level where you're ready to do that, how do you get that work? How do you say, "Hey, I know you're working with so-and-so, and we also follow the same lines that you follow as for quality and work ethic and your message"? How do we get on board with that? I would love to see a hangout where people talked about how they're actually getting work beyond the local guy.
There's only one person that I've heard speak on that, and he was like, "Hell no."
Yeah, it's taboo.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, because he said people would come and ask him that question, and what he saw it as was somebody trying to take his money. And he's ran into quite a few issues where people were impersonating him, impersonating his work, and they'd even call up his clients because now that they had the information, they could, come and talk the right talk, and he'd offer a lower price. that person would offer a lower price, and I was like, damn, that really, you know?
Yeah, it's very competitive. But I gotta say goodbye myself now. So.
Okay, so Brad, how do we get clients that when we do what you do?
I'm sorry, what? Oh yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, I'll figure that out someday.
All right, Brad. Once again,
take care, guys.
Thank you, Brad. Once again, thank you. And you know we're appreciative, right?
You. Yeah, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Huh?
Bye-bye. I'll see you in 2 weeks. So I'll come up with a, but one of us will come up with a, if you want me to work with some more singers or, whatever, we'll come up with a new motif, so to speak.
Okay, AES is somewhere around the 9th. It's like 4 days, so I might be down in LA. I'm not sure when the next one. I know the next one is 2 weeks from now, but I don't know what date. But just letting you know, I'll message you whatever the dates are for AES to see how all that works out. Because we might have to do a different hangout if we're able to do it, or I might be at AES when it's time to do the hangout. So we might have a different day. We'll figure something out. But like I said, Brad, you are most appreciated, bro. I'm appreciative.
Vice versa to all of you. It's definitely win-win everywhere. Thanks again, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
All right, bro. You take care. Go. That would actually be an awesome hangout if we could get some people to talk about that. If either, would you guys see, if you could get some people to do that. We're going to have Ross Hogarth on, I think it's Saturday. I forget what it is, but I think it's Saturday. We're also going to have Richard Furch on. He was on the Usher album, Confessions. With Ryan West was also on there. We did Ryan West. He's another Pensadian, but both of these guys are Pensadians. Ryan West and Richard Furch. But Richard Furch will be, I believe, he's Friday. Ross Hogarth, I believe, is Saturday. And then we have another surprise that Sunday. But anyway, yeah, I'm spilling all these beans. I'll be posting about them real soon. But yeah, if you guys could think of somebody or talk to somebody and they're willing to give up that type of information on how today, like stuff that worked back in the day, some of it might work, some of it might not. So that, and then how today somebody would get in on the sessions. One of the things that was made very clear to me by Dave Hampton and Dave Isaac and Khalik was trust. People have, it's trust. They have to trust, like with some of the guys, some of the studios are in people's houses. So if you're coming into the house, there's all kinds of trust issues. Everything from stealing, from not disclosing certain things. You might not know what you see in that house. To not hitting on somebody in that house, like some beautiful wife, daughter, whatever the case. Whatever. Just the fact that somebody could leave you alone with somebody and not worry. Like you're not trying to do whatever. But that was one of the huge things. And friendships, like Ghost, I know that after communicating with you, that if you were ever in town and I had a session going on and it was a paid gig, I'd have no problem letting you in just by knowing you. And that has been huge. So this stuff right here, the networking, like I walked into SAE when Ross Hogarth was doing this last one. He was demonstrating. I need to put the video up of that. But he was explaining some stuff about recording live. Instruments had guys in there, doing their thing, and he stopped me and said, "Hey, Matt." Actually calls me Matt, and I never corrected. I just keep laughing, like he calls me Matt instead of Matt, and I'll tell him eventually. But he stops and he says, "Hey, Matt," and he explained what they did, and then so my whole crew stopped and were like, "Oh crap, he knows Ross," and so as Ross was doing his thing, he went into the room where everybody was. He left the control room, went into the live room, and he was educating somebody about the mic stand and what they were doing and stuff. And so it's like after spending so much time at this stuff and me watching Ross, I could actually eventually start saying what Ross is going to say. At that point, he knows who I am. I'm saying what he would say, and I would learn his idiosyncrasies, like he might not want you to talk ever in the session, you know. And I say, yeah, Ross does. And if he were to hear me say, yeah, if you go to Ross's session, don't speak, just be a fly on the wall, and he, you know, that right there would let him know that I know how to conduct myself at his session, and that's how me personally I would get to where I finally, Ross, can I, you know, ask Ross, can I come in and just be that fly on the wall? I know you don't want this, 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 this. I already know the rules. That's how me personally I would end up doing it. So I hope that helps.
Yes, it does.
Bruh, you see me getting out, going to these events, these live events, bruh, I swear to you, it's worth it. I'm spending money. I'm bringing people. They're not having a. I'm feeding the people that I'm bringing. I believe in it that so much. When you see me with a crew, if you see me with a crew when I'm taking pictures and posting them online at these events, they don't have to pay a dime. I'm like, hey, get in my car. You're going. And they just come. I pay for food, everything. Just come to this event. I'm going to make sure you get this, and then we come back. We all speak the same language. We've all had the same experience, and then these guys get to meet my crew. And the stuff is paying off big time. The more you go to this live stuff, the more you're online doing these chats, the better. Like eventually, like you've won the award, and you're on these chats. I'm telling you, you're gonna go somewhere, and somebody is gonna say you're Ghost. I guarantee it. If it has not happened already, you're gonna go somewhere. It's already happened.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
That bruh, and it opens doors for you. No ifs, ands, or buts. It opens doors for you. So that's all that's all I know so far. So, but yes, we should do a hangout where we're discussing this stuff.
You know, I had this is random, but so me and my buddy Pete were looking through Craigslist because sometimes people will post they want help setting up the home studio, and we saw an ad giving away 1,000 free beats. So we call the guy and say, hey man, you know, we just want to know that there's a studio here that you could send your clients to. So he comes in to check out the studio. It turns out it's DJ Funky Man from Parliament. So now we're working with DJ Funky Man from Parliament. He came in and he checked everything out, and Pete's like, man, you look really familiar. He's like, well, you know George Clinton in Parliament? He's like, yeah, well, I'm DJ Funky Man. And we were like, no way. In 5 minutes, he walks up to the Roland, and in 5 minutes, he had a complete song just that fast. He was like, I'm going to do something in G. And he played his pianos, hit record, went and played some drums in real time, went and played some strings on it real quick, and he was like, there you go, there's a song. Just, that guy's epic. So I'm picking his brain, and he wants to come hang out in the studio a little bit, and he doesn't have a studio. He's kind of just getting rid of old beats, and he's kind of been talking to us like, hey, maybe I could just hang out here for a while with you guys. I'm out of LA now, and so I'm going to pick his brain a little bit.
See,
so DJ Funky.
You want to hang out.
I want to slide that in on him. I'm going to slide that in on him for a hangout.
Yeah, just have him be over there wherever you're at. Just have him be over there one day and say, hey, hold on, let me conduct a little bit of business real quick. Get us on, and have him say, hi.
That was my first thought. I'm definitely going to be in your ear on that one for him.
I do that. I do that to singers all the time. I say, you know what, have a seat. Or just come here and have them, you know, I do that all the time. Throw them in front of Khalik and them and say, sing. You know, because I train them and I tell them, look, you're going to be in front of somebody one day. You're going to be told to sing. There's going to be some dude from the industry. Yeah, sure, Mike. And then I hit them with it. And you should see the looks on their face. It's priceless. But yeah.
Get out to more events, rub some more elbows, take trips to LA, and get myself in the zone.
Yeah, where are you located again?
Sacramento.
Wait, that's right. Man.
Hey, me and Pete go to Fresno all the time. He's got family out there.
Okay, my number is 559-930-3342. Holla.
Okay, hold on one sec.
And I know I'm giving it out to all the world. It's all on my Facebook also. I'm not afraid. 559-930-3362. Mod Hotep. We can go to the studio. We can go to Starbucks if you want and talk and have people look at us like we're some super nerds or whatever, and like we're crazy. Whatever you guys want.
For sure, that would be epic.
And I'm gonna have to try to remember you guys are in Sacramento, so when I'm up that way, I come out and see you guys. And James, I just know that you're not that close, are you?
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
See?
And you know, I'm retired. I'm past all that. I don't need to. I'm not shooting for anything in my life. I'm successful as I ever want to be. Got everything I need.
Enjoying making the music, right?
Yeah. But you guys are doing a good thing, and I want to be here. Look at the little video on the sidebar and watch that. I want to be the encourager, dude. I just want to be here hanging out and see where y'all going to take this, man. And if I can just hang out and be here and watch it, that's what I want to do.
If you guys,
James,
go ahead.
James, what do you do, James?
I work for my wife. I'm retired.
You just dabble, hobbyist? You're more of a hobbyist?
Yeah, I piddle around the house and remodel shit, put in new windows, put in new doors, lay floors, stuff like that. It's
music-wise. What about music-wise?
Music-wise, I play the harmonica, the piano, the guitars. I dabble around inside Reason, Ableton, Logic, Pro Tools, and my level is about right here. Broad base, music theory, physics, sound design on the synths, and you know, maybe right here. But you know, my harmonica's like right up here.
So when you get a call from us about playing harmonica,
I could do it.
Don't be surprised.
But everything else is right here, you know, and it's steadily just growing. And it's the whole gamut of music. There's so much involved. The business, you know. Logistics, advertising, marketing, the technology stuff. Not only is it music now, it's a lot of video stuff. You know, you got to put your stuff out on YouTube and, you know, in the studio, all the different things, buses and auxes and channels, and it's amazing, man, how much stuff there is to know about this. I was a machinist. I was a tool maker in a machine shop for 15 years. And
hey, James, I know a cool video that you'd like to watch. It's called The Art of Mixing.
I probably already watched it. Hey, Gibson?
Yeah. Oh, I love that thing. I watch it literally 3 times a week.
Yeah.
It's helped my mixes too, because I never thought you could just simply grab a bell on an EQ and start sweeping around until you're like, oh, I'm going to put it right here. There it is. Yeah. That's cool. That's where that sound goes.
Yeah. This is
Reason
stuff, though. The whole thing.
You use Reason a lot?
Yeah. Actually, it was the second one after Cubase that I bought, and it helped me actually to understand the routing a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask anybody if they've looked at the new Reason 8 that's coming out and what they thought about that. It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty good.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of comments like, well, no, it doesn't add enough to update, you know, so they're going to wait for Reason 9 and stuff of that nature. But I did get off into the Ableton Live 9 and Max MSP and programming Max MSP and then DP, Pure Data, or PD, Pure Data, and, you know, doing this open source kind of programming and just geeking out, you know. And then, you know, grabbing an electric fiddle and sending it through effects boxes, guitar stomp pedals and stuff, and, you know, hooking up piezo microphones to the desk and, you know, running it through filters and stuff. And I just geek out. I just have fun with it.
See, you would make a great resource for hip-hop people because they would take all of that and put it in, that would be their sound bank, and they would be in there just like, wow, some genius made this. This is awesome.
We bought a Line 6 guitar amp, tore it apart, and actually mounted the unit into our rack. So now we actually have a hardware guitar rack that's better than the guitar rig. It's actually a real inline. It's awesome.
Yes.
Just bought it, ripped the speaker out, mounted it in the rack. Perfect.
Oh, cool. Yes. Huh. I'm actually going to get rid of this room. I'm moving from this room. She's going to put me out in the shed. I've got to put in a half bath. That way I can invite all my... I got so many friends, but, you know, it's one of those privacy issues. You know, she doesn't want people coming in the house. You know, this is her sanctuary, her domain. So.
Well, I stay out of my wife's kitchen, and she stays out of my garage. We keep it that way.
That's it. But there's a good thing about companionship, and then the erotic or whatever you call them relationships. But in order for me and my wife to have a healthy relationship, I've got to have comradism involved in my life, and whether that be me and the boys going out and playing disc golf or shooting a couple of games of billiards and blowing one off, or whatever, but music is a good part of that to keep my sanity. But I just want to be here just to encourage y'all and say, wow, this is cool, because I really like what the whole Herb and Dave thing, man. Whenever that kicked off, I saw that going, and I'm like, wow, it's really cool. And the more I understood it, and then got into Pensado Students and was on the Facebook page, I realized, this is really, really cool. It's top shelf shit, man. The people give this shit away for free, because this stuff was behind the glass at one time. You couldn't see it.
Yeah, you usually have to pay a lot of money to talk to people like Khalid and and Brad and Ross. You got to pay money for that stuff. And like Mott pointed out, Ross doesn't even accept your money to let you in the studio unless he's comfortable with you. So then there's that. This is priceless information. Like, I couldn't pay Tony Maserati $10,000 right now to let me in his studio, because he doesn't need the 10 grand and he doesn't need the distraction either. So this is valuable.
Yeah, I could pay what, 10, 14,000, 18,000 to go to a technical trade school on this stuff, but I'm not in any hurry, so I learn it as I go.
Yeah.
And but I'm not young either, so I can understand if a youngin wants to go and do that. But for me, this is like school. It's just like school to me.
I would rather somebody pay a studio 14 grand, because the school, they're great. I'm not disadvocating the school at all, but they don't teach you how to deal with the different personalities and sensitivities of artists. They don't teach you that stuff. They don't teach you that at all. Like, there's more to just routing and bussing and hitting record. There's definitely communication skills that are involved. That doesn't matter how good you are, if people don't want to even talk to you, they're not going to want anything to do with you. Even if your studio is free, they're not going to want to work with you if you're just somebody they can't stand to be in the room with. I'd rather someone pay for studio sessions.
Yeah, there's a thing that Khalid and Dave and Bill, everybody that has been in this for a long time has said, the technical stuff, yes, you got to know it. It's just like learning your guitar. If you don't have that as an appendage off your body and know how to use it, just second nature, then you're not going to be a good technician. But relationships, that's half the equation, man. And if you can't, it's like Bill says, you can't be a creep and expect to be successful in this. You just can't,
There's a lot of unemployed, talented creeps.
Yeah. Because, life's short, man. You can't have, and it does. It kind of squelches the inspiration or the ability to ad-lib, and not only be yourself, but go out in the zone and then come back, when you're in a song. Like when I'm playing my harp and stuff, they call me Reverend, because they think I go out and I take some kind of mystical experience when I'm blowing, and then I'll come back in and hit the root note and let the next guy take over, or go into the chorus. But for me to be able to do that, I gotta feel comfortable around everybody that's jamming with me. We gotta have a relationship, because it's just like Brad says. You go into a guy's house for the first time, you don't know how to act. But you hang around him for, 3 or 4 months, you start going and getting beer out of his fridge,
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I just think this is so valuable, though. And, I'm old enough to where I don't care what people think about me anymore, But I've kind of learned how to act, too. I'm not a complete creep, But I just see some value in this. And, you know, if anybody's looking on here on the YouTube channel and seeing this old guy in here with all his little instruments around him, and you know, I don't live anywhere special. You know, I'm in Dallas, and there's not really any kind of major music market here. But I just think that this is invaluable information. So I sit on these things and I glean stuff. But mostly my job is just to encourage y'all to keep doing what you're doing, because this is really cool stuff. And people don't want to get involved. You know, they don't, you know, I mean, we're out in public. We're out in front of the world right here. You know, it doesn't bother me a bit. But a lot of young guys that are growing, and I'm not good at this stuff. I'm learning just like, you know, I've been doing it 10 years, but I'm real slow at this stuff. But I'm making steady progress, and, you know, I'm comfortable with where I'm at.
I'm gonna check out your leadership video that you posted, James, and I'm gonna post it on the link on the post that we have going for this hangout. I'm gonna post that on there.
Okay, you'll see a little bit of my humor there.
All right, fellas, I've got to get out of here.
I'm out.
You guys, any parting words that you guys want to put out, or any information about yourselves that you want to get out? Anything before we head out?
I can't add to it. I've already given my life story and told you the reason I'm here. So I'm out. Go ahead, man.
I just think bridges over borders. Reach one, teach one. That's my message.
All right. And I'm Hotep. This is Ghost Web. It's James Prey. And we're out.